Chapter 260. It's impossible to join the Jinwu religion, but perhaps we can work together in another way. Xinghui said. For a time, the glimmer of hope that had risen in Lai Wuyang's eyes dimmed again. However, considering the great danger that the Jinwu religion was facing and Xinghui's great strength and shocking potential, she still raised her spirits and looked at Xinghui. Tell me, how do we work together? It's very simple. When the Golden Crow sect is in danger, I can lend a helping hand. However, this kind of help is not free of charge. Every time I lend a helping hand, you have to pay a sufficient reward. For example, if I help you kill a prominent divine stage expert of the creation mystical sect, you have to give me the 6th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Kill a prominent saint stage expert of the creation transformation mysterious sect. Lai Wuyang's heart trembled. The creation mystical sect had many experts at the unity of spirit and chi and blue darkness realm. They had basically reached the total number of cultivators at these 2 levels of cultivation in the other sects. But the number of prominent saint experts had decreased drastically. If Qing Su really could kill a prominent saint expert of the creation mystical sect for them. So what if they gave him the 6th layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow method? Alright, I'll do as you say. If you're able to kill a vision saint stage expert of the creation mystical sect, then I'll give you the 6th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. If you're able to kill a saint stage expert of the creation mystical sect, then I'll convince sect master Zhu Xian to agree to your request, even if you want to read the inheritance of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Alright. However, what you told me earlier about the Golden Crow sect persuading the Hunyuan heavenly sect was a misunderstanding must also be included in the plan. Of course, to show our sincerity, I will immediately contact our sect master and ask him to send a message to the Hunyuan heavenly sect to resolve this conflict. In addition, our cooperation will only be known by the heavens, earth, you and I, and no third party will know. In order to pave the way for you to comprehend the complete inheritance of the Great Sun Golden Crow art in the future, I will announce to the public that you are willing to become enemies with the creation transformation mysterious sect for me. This will allow you to walk in the Jinwu religion legitimately. Qing Su thought about it carefully. Lai Wuyang was just doing this to make everyone misunderstand their relationship, which would affect his reputation slightly. However, he did not care about this reputation at all. Moreover, Lai Wuyang's ultimate goal was to pave the way for him to comprehend the complete inheritance of the Great Sun Golden Crow art in the future. Even if he agreed, he would not lose anything. He nodded slightly. Alright, send a message to the sect master of the Jinwu religion. I will try to return to the Hunyuan heavenly sect in a while, and secretly contact them. If I find that you did not help me solve this problem according to our agreement, don't blame me for hitting you when you are down and forcefully entering the Jinwu religion to plunder the Great Sun Golden Crow art inheritance of your Jinwu religion. Lai Wuyang calmly glanced at Xinghui. Don't worry, making an enemy like you will only do harm to the Jinwu religion. I will not do anything that will make the Jinwu religion situation more difficult. After speaking, her mental energy undulations seemed to weaken a little. Evidently, she had already entered the Chaos Temple. Xinghui was a little surprised to see Lai Wuyang enter the Chaos Temple in front of him. Although the cultivators who entered the Chaos Temple were not completely unaware of the outside world, their senses would be greatly reduced. If someone suddenly attacked at this time, she would not be able to react. However, when he thought about it carefully, Lai Wuyang's life and death were currently in his hands. Her actions seemed to show that she was extremely confident in him, which was understandable. Less than half an hour later, Lai Wuyang's consciousness returned, but her expression was a little strange. The sect master's attitude seemed to have predicted all of this. Although she somewhat understood the sect master's thoughts, Lai Wuyang's gaze immediately fell on Xinghui as she truthfully replied, I have already explained the whole story to our sect master. At the same time, I promised her that if the Jinwu religion is in danger, you will immediately rush over to provide support. The sect master believes that the two of us have deep feelings for each other, and is willing to help us, and not marry into the Hunyuan heavenly sect. Oh, the problem with the Hunyuan heavenly sect has been resolved? The sect master should personally meet sect master Swakunlun of the Hunyuan heavenly sect in the Chaos Temple. However, Lai Wuyang glanced at Xinghui. Our sect master wants to see you. See me? Naturally. I am the future sect master of the Jinwu religion. I have announced to the outside world that the two of us have been in love for a long time. So the sect master naturally wants to see you and understand your character. But you should know that this is just an act directed by the two of us. I know. But if you want to obtain the perfect inheritance of the great Sun Golden Crow art, you must obtain our sect master's trust. As Lai Wuyang spoke, he carefully observed the changes in Xinghui's emotions. When he saw that Xinghui seemed to be faintly impatient, he took the initiative to say, "But don't worry, according to the sect masters in my description, although you have deep feelings for me, your temperament is rather unruly. I believe the sect master can understand this. If you weren't unruly, how could you have intercepted my Jinwu religion's worship and fought against the two grand elders of the Hunyuan heavenly sect? Therefore, even if you don't want to see him for a while, I have a way to cover it up for you." Very good. Then continue to cover it up. When I want to see him, I will naturally see him. Okay. As Lai Wuyang spoke, he looked at Xinghui and said, "We need to be up to date at all times. Moreover, you need to know whether or not the Jinwu religion is in real danger, so that you can decide whether or not to act. For the convenience of communication, let's exchange the primal chaos imprints in our personal space in the Chaos Temple." Okay. Xinghui nodded. The two immediately agreed on a location in the Chaos Temple and entered at the same time. After traveling for a while, Qingsu arrived at the place they had agreed on. Lai Wuyang was already waiting there. The Lai Wuyang in the Chaos Temple was vastly different from her real self, so much so that Xinghui almost did not dare to recognize her. In reality, Lai Wuyang liked to wear fiery red dresses that made her look incomparably sexy and hot, such as now. Her bright red dress perfectly displayed her slender and delicate waist, and the ribbon tied into a bow accentuated her sexy and enchanting collarbones. Her bright red dress fluttered in the wind like a ball of dazzling flame that made one want to throw themselves into it. But in the Chaos Temple, she was actually dressed in palace attire, like an elegant and noble princess that wrapped around her snow-white skin. But if one looked carefully, there was a different kind of beauty, especially when Xinghui was distracted to look at the fiery red Lai Wuyang in front of him, and then compared it to her attire in the Chaos Temple. It formed a strong impact that made one unable to help but sigh in admiration. "Lai Wuyang?" Xinghui walked in front of Lai Wuyang and said with some uncertainty, "In the Chaos Temple, we don't show our real names to others. You can just call me Ling Xiao." Xinghui nodded. "I am Ming Pak Hui. This is the secret art of my personal space." Xinghui memorized the secret art and gave his secret art to Lai Wuyang. But at the same time that he gave his secret art to Lai Wuyang, Xinghui reminded her that his personal space, which was so vast that it could contain mountains and rivers, was divided into a small space to prevent his personal space from being exposed and making others associate it with his primal chaos grade. "Pak Hui, as far as I know, your Aunt Nailan Fei seems to be related to one of the 10 great primal chaos organizations, Heaven's Dome. If there is a recommendation in Heaven's Dome, anyone who cultivates divine great astral energy can join. You should also be a member of Heaven's Dome, right?" "That's right." As soon as Xinghui answered, Lai Wuyang immediately asked impatiently, "That mysterious expert who helped you suppress the power of the eternal blazing sun's explosion is your master in Heaven's Dome?" "Master?" Xinghui thought of the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao. He originally wanted to become a disciple of the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao, but for some reason, the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao didn't take a liking to him and didn't accept him as a disciple. But it didn't make sense to say that the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao had completely shut him out. If he had any questions about the Blazing Sun Sutra, the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao would answer them one by one. He was no different from a disciple. Thus, Xinghui didn't understand what the esteemed Master Zhu Zhao was thinking. "These are things that you shouldn't ask." Lai Wuyang looked at Xinghui, as if she wanted to see something from his expression. But as Tsing Hui's figure faded away, she could only follow Tsing Hui out of the primal chaos temple in disappointment. Looking at the current situation of Lai Wuyang and the Jin Wu religion, Tsing Hui suddenly had a thought. Since you know that I'm a member of Heaven's Dome, then you should understand that if we, the disciples of Heaven's Dome, shop in Heaven's Dome, we can usually enjoy discounted prices. For example, in the outside world, one can only buy level 4 upper grade or level 5 lower grade divine weapons with Dao aura. In Heaven's Dome, we can buy level 5 upper grade divine weapons. Does your Jin Wu religion have any items that carry Dao? If you do, we can exchange them directly. Lai Wuyang shook her head. You're a bit late. In these years, our Jin Wu religion has collected many items that carry Dao. But not long ago, in order to establish my position as the first vice sect leader, the leader stopped the other vice sect leaders from coveting the position of the sect leader. He helped me raise the level of primal chaos to level 10 and used up all the items that carry Dao that the religion had accumulated. Tsing Hui couldn't help but feel regret when he heard this. What a pity! I have many treasures that have miraculous effects for the cultivation of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. There are many Great Sun essences and Great Sun crystals among them. You have Great Sun crystals? Lai Wuyang was shocked when she heard Tsing Hui's words. Although the power contained in the Great Sun essences was pure, it was only effective for the cultivation of the immortality realm. But Great Sun crystals, even a Saint Realm expert could absorb and refine it. In terms of value, the two were not on the same level. That's right, I do have some Great Sun crystals, Tsing Hui said bluntly. He didn't have any now, but if he was willing to go to the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce in Heaven Wasteland, it wouldn't be difficult to buy 10 Great Sun crystals with 1 Dao aura. Great Sun crystals. Lai Wuyang hesitated for a moment, then suddenly said, Our treasury no longer has any items that carry Dao, but some elders may have some. I'll ask them for you. Chapter 261. If you do, I'll bring the Great Sun crystal directly to your Jin Wu religion. Okay. Lai Wuyang nodded, as he looked at the woman before him. Qing Su could not help but sigh emotionally at the mysteries of the world. Lai Wuyang, who hated him to the bone a few years ago, was actually able to stand before him calmly and discuss a deal with him now. However, this was also because Tsing Hui's strength had increased, and the Jin Wu religion needed his help. Otherwise, the Jin Wu religion would never let the matter of him secretly learning the Great Sun Golden Crow art of the Jin Wu religion. I'll take my leave first. I hope you can come to our Jin Wu religion as soon as possible to help us kill the enemies of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. Although the Hunyuan Heaven sect has sent 2 grand elders to our Jin Wu religion, if the Create Evolve Mysterious sect really wants to deal with our Jin Wu religion, we won't be able to resist. Don't worry, neither the Hunyuan Heaven sect nor the Limitless Sword sect will sit by and watch the Jin Wu religion be destroyed. Lai Wuyang shook his head. You're underestimating the power of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. It's true that the Limitless Sword sect and the Hunyuan Heaven sect won't sit by and watch the Jin Wu religion be destroyed, but I'm afraid that the Create Evolve Mysterious sect will plot against them, and they won't be able to stop the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. You should know that the Green Lotus Sword sect was a powerful sect on the same level as the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the 6 Paths of God and Demons, and the Qingquan Holy Land. They had 4 saint experts in their sect, and were prominent for a period of time. However, the Create Evolve Mysterious sect created a diversion and trapped the Limitless Sword sect's patriarchs with a formation. They then diverted their forces to launch a thunderous attack on the Green Lotus Sword sect, causing the Green Lotus Sword sect to almost be completely destroyed. Even after 100 years of recuperation, they still haven't recovered. Tsing Hui was a little surprised to hear Lai Wuyang's words. He did not expect the Green Lotus Sword sect to be so glorious. For saint experts, it should be said that the Hunyuan Heaven sect only had 4 saint stage ancestors on the surface. After obtaining the 5th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, Tsing Hui directly let Lai Wuyang leave. The Jinwu religion was actually a breakthrough for him to expand the Life Alliance's influence inland. This was also the reason why he was willing to give Lai Wuyang a chance to survive. Judging from the current situation, letting Lai Wuyang go was clearly the right decision. Relying on his relationship with Lai Wuyang to the public, he already had the foundation to enter the Jinwu religion. Next, he just had to wait for his cultivation to take another step forward and enter the battlefield between the Jinwu religion and the Creation Mysterious sect to save the Jinwu religion from destruction and become the savior of the Jinwu religion. Xing Hui's eyes flashed. The next moment, his figure leaped up, tore through the trees above his head, and directly rushed into the clouds, flying towards the sea at full speed. After obtaining the Great Sun Golden Crow technique and refining the roaming dragon blood transformation powder, it was time to go to his own territory to cultivate in seclusion and use the power of the torch dragon's blood to rush to the peak of the Qingming stage. If he had been at the peak of the Qingming stage when fighting Yuan He and Qin Zhen, the two grand elders of the Hunyuan heaven sect, he would not have been suppressed so miserably. After all, the weapons in his hands, on his body, and on his feet were all grade 9 weapons without exception. After flying for less than half a day, Xing Hui seemed to sense something. The next moment, while reducing his speed, his consciousness directly projected into the Chaos Temple and appeared in his personal space. Not long after, the space opened, and Nalan Fei's figure directly appeared. Xing Hui, why did you leave the Hunyuan Heaven sect early in the morning with so many experts of the Life Alliance? Nalan Fei couldn't wait to ask when she saw Xing Hui. Xing Hui thought that Lai Wuyang still needed to use his relationship with her to block the Hunyuan Heaven sect's questioning. What happened today would be known sooner or later, so he replied truthfully, I attacked the Jinwu religion's worship and took Lai Wuyang away to prevent her from marrying the Hunyuan Heaven sect's chosen, Jiesu. Nalan Fei had already guessed from the reaction of Zhou Kunlun and the others that Xing Hui must have done something big. Now that she heard him admit it, her eyes widened. You took away the Jinwu religion's saintess Lai Wuyang under the protection of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's two grand elders, Qin Zhen and Yuan He? Xing Hui nodded. How did you do it? Those are two grand elders, and their cultivation has reached the vision domain stage. They are peak figures who can manifest the battle physique, especially Grand Elder Qin Zhen. She has a unique treasure that can manifest the heavenly Peng sacred physique. Her battle strength is so strong that she can be ranked in the top 100 of the most famous desolate list in the eastern wilderness. You actually took away the Jinwu religion's saintess Lai Wuyang under their noses? That's how I did it. Xing Hui shrugged. In other words, your strength is already not weaker than any grand elder at the 6th stage of the longevity stage? Even if that grand elder manifests the saint physique? That's right. Nalan Fei suddenly stared at Xing Hui strangely, as if she wanted to see through all his secrets. Xing Hui also realized that his terrifying speed of growth might arouse the suspicion of others in the eastern wilderness. After thinking for a while, he said, Senior Sister Nalan, you should know about esteemed Zhu Zhao in the Heavenly Dome, right? Of course, he is one of the 4 founders of the Heavenly Dome, and also the top expert in the Heavenly Dome. It is said that he is an invincible figure who has surpassed the Saint Realm. In the entire Heavenly Dome, even the swordsman who has the power of life and death in the Heavenly Dome is inferior to him. Esteemed Zhu Zhao came to the island where I live not long ago. Xing Hui said. Nalan Fei was so smart that she instantly guessed something. She could not hide the surprise in her eyes. You mean? Qing Su said ambiguously. Even though the Reverend Zhu Zhao has yet to make an official announcement, if I have any questions regarding cultivation, I can directly enter the Reverend Zhu Zhao's palace and ask the Reverend Zhu Zhao for an answer personally. No wonder you can cultivate to such a level in just a few years. It is because of such an opportunity. Esteemed Zhu Zhao is the most powerful and the most ancient existence in the Heavenly Dome. Even my nominal master, Immortal Zixiao, is 1 generation younger than him. With his careful guidance and patient cultivation, it is not difficult for you to step into the Vision Divine Realm or even the Saint realm in a few years, let alone step into the green darkness realm. You and I know about this matter. Even if someone asks, you can at most mention a certain senior in the heavenly dome. You can't tell others the specific inside story. After all, esteemed Zhu Zhao has not announced it to the public, and I don't know what he is thinking. Xing Hui said. In fact, he could already guess from esteemed Zhu Zhao's reaction that he might not be worthy of esteemed Zhu Zhao's attention. But now, in order to dispel Nalan Fei's doubts, he had to use esteemed Zhu Zhao's name. As his cultivation continued to increase in the future, when esteemed Zhu Zhao's name gradually became less and less useful, he would probably have grown into a top figure in the entire Eastern Wilderness, or even Heaven Wasteland. At that time, there would be no need to explain too much. Of course I understand. I will never talk nonsense. Nalan Fei nodded with a serious face. She did not want to cause esteemed Zhu Zhao to be dissatisfied with Xing Hui's showing off because of her, and thus give up the idea of taking Xing Hui as a disciple. Xing Hui, the sect master has sent me a message, asking me to summon you back to the sect as soon as possible. When do you think you can come back? Summon me back to the sect? Xing Hui said. It stands to reason that Lai Wuyang should have already told the Jin Wu religion's sect master and sect master about the cause and effect of the matter. Nalan Fei seemed to see what Xing Hui was worried about, and immediately said, Don't worry, according to my inference, the sect master and the others shouldn't have summoned you over for a bad thing. Xing Hui also wanted to understand the Hunyuan heaven sect's attitude towards him. After pondering for a while, he agreed. Okay, but tell the sect master that I have injuries and need to recuperate. I will return to the sect in half a month. Okay, I will tell the sect master the truth. Xing Hui nodded. The main reason why he had to return to the Hunyuan heaven sect in half a month was to wait for the cooldown of the divine art. With the saint technique, his battle prowess was not inferior to a saint stage expert. In addition, he had a grade 9 flying sword. Even if the Hunyuan heaven sect encountered any danger, he would be able to easily escape. He, who had already become one of the top experts in the world, had such confidence. After the conversation with Nalan Fei, Xing Hui was in no hurry to return overseas. Otherwise, the round trip would take more than 10 days. After flying on his sword for a while, he found an ordinary-looking forest and descended. Then, he picked a piece of land and cleared out an empty space before releasing the holy winged draconic eagle. Ancient trees towered into the sky in the dense forest. Unless someone came to this area in person, even if a warship passed by, it would be impossible to detect the abnormalities in the forest. Although the sacred winged dragonhawk space was not large, it was still equivalent to a small private jet. It was fully equipped with daily necessities, and it was not difficult to use it for temporary rest. In the battle with Yuan He, Qin Zhen, and the others, Xing Hui had more than once unleashed his ultimate strength. Such extreme pressure gave him a new understanding of the control of his own qi. Now that he had calmed down and collected his thoughts, countless sparks of inspiration suddenly burst forth, and he constantly replayed and interpreted the various scenes of the battle. Before long, Qing Su had an epiphany. He was enlightened, and the circulation method of the true qi began to circulate naturally. The dense, pure true qi in his body circulated along a special trajectory in an extremely ingenious manner. As it circulated, the golden crow true qi and crimson yang true qi gathered and dispersed as he wished. Even when the two types of true qi converged in his body at times, they actually managed to coexist peacefully, without any signs of devouring one another. This kind of precise control of qi that could be divided into 100 parts was often only seen in second-layer saint stage experts. In this way, after refining qi for 3 days, Xing Hui stopped circulating the Great Sun Golden Crow art and the Illuminating Sun Sutra at the same time, and then he breathed a sigh of relief with a smile on his face. After several months of bitter cultivation and continuous research, he had finally reached the small success stage of the qi into virtual qi. Chapter 262. The method of transforming vital energy into virtual energy. It was a secret method that did not have a significant effect before it was cultivated to the advanced level. Although Xinghui had cultivated the secret method to the advanced level, in fact, it only improved his control of the vital energy in his body by a little. The increase in his combat strength was minimal. As for being able to operate the two types of vital energy at the same time without affecting each other, it only gave him more room for choice and more subtle changes in his means. No, in fact, it could not be considered subtle. At least, the effect of the red yang vital energy, at the level of the green darkness realm, was much more significant than that of the golden crow vital energy, at the peak of the spirit and qi integration realm. Except for being able to turn the situation around with the help of the golden crow vital energy, when fighting evenly with the enemy, there was no other special effect. For many practitioners, cultivating two bloodlines at the same time was to use a bloodline with weak potential to assist a bloodline with strong potential at a certain critical moment, so that the bloodline with strong potential would undergo a qualitative change and naturally be promoted to a higher realm. It was just like Qing Su. If he was willing to give up on the Golden Crow bloodline, or the Seraphic Dragon bloodline, and use the power of the other bloodline, he would definitely be able to make the other bloodline even purer. It might even be able to break through his current realm of cultivation and reach an even higher peak. However, at present, his cultivation of both bloodlines had not reached the limit, so there was no need for him to use this method. Therefore, he still maintained the two bloodlines at the same time. The method of transforming vital energy into virtual energy has been cultivated, and the roaming dragon blood pill has also been cultivated. Next, Xinghui turned his hand, and the torch dragon blood that was stored in a crystal Rubik's cube appeared in his hand. As he used the secret method to unlock it, a drop of the torch dragon blood contained in the crystal Rubik's cube immediately separated. Although this drop of torch dragon blood could not be regarded as blood essence, it was after all an invincible creature in the divine realm. Even if it was just a drop of ordinary blood, the pressure it contained was still extremely terrifying. Even though Xinghui's cultivation had broken through to the green darkness realm, he still felt a sense of difficulty in breathing in front of this drop of blood. This showed how powerful the torch dragon that had reached this realm was. As expected of one of the most mysterious divine beasts, Xinghui took a deep breath and separated a portion of the roaming dragon blood transformation elixir that he had just refined. Then, he directly refined the drop of torch dragon blood into this portion of roaming dragon blood transformation elixir. After that, he adjusted his essence, energy, and spirit. When his essence reached its peak, he swallowed this portion of roaming dragon blood transformation elixir without hesitation. The wandering dragon blood transformation powder could purify the medicinal efficacy of the candle dragon blood transformation powder and make its effects gentler. But even so, when the candle dragon blood transformation powder, wrapped in the wandering dragon blood transformation powder, was refined in Xinghui's body, it was like a dazzling sun that suddenly exploded in his body. Endless blazing power surged and spread throughout his body, constantly strengthening his physical talent and transforming him as much as possible into the candle dragon divine beast. The energy in the torch dragon blood is dissipating too quickly. After refining for less than a moment, Xinghui's expression changed. Even with the help of the wandering dragon blood transformation powder, to neutralize and refine the candle dragon blood transformation powder, the power that erupted from the blood of a divine realm creature was still far from what Xinghui could easily absorb. This drop of candle dragon blood, which had a great chance of pushing his cultivation to the late stage of the green hell realm, actually dissipated more than half of its power, because Xinghui could not absorb it in time. As a result, he could only watch helplessly as his opportunity was quickly missed. Divine soul of the candle dragon blood, come out! Seeing that this drop of candle dragon blood might not be able to help him break through to the middle stage of the green hell realm, Xinghui could not care about anything else. The candle dragon blood, in his spiritual world, suddenly appeared. The powerful spiritual power swept through his body like a torrent, carrying the power of the candle dragon blood. It constantly penetrated his body and changed his physique, making his body more compatible with heaven and earth. This method consumed a lot of spiritual power. If he was not careful, it might even damage his spiritual power. However, Xing Hui's recovery characteristics had already reached the 6th level. With a strong foundation, he did not care about the possible bad consequences. He allowed the candle dragon blood, his spiritual power, to merge with his spiritual essence to digest the power of the candle dragon blood, and do his best to break through to the middle stage of the green hell realm. In this way, after a day, when the power of this drop of candle dragon blood completely dissipated, Xing Hui's cultivation realm had also broken through the threshold of the early stage of the green hell realm with great difficulty and entered the middle stage of the green hell realm. Feeling that the essential qi in his body was more compatible with heaven and earth, Xing Hui breathed a sigh of relief. My spiritual level is too low. Xing Hui looked inside himself and had to face the problem he was facing at the moment. Spiritual level. Yes, it was the spiritual level. Since his spiritual level had reached the 61st level with the help of the refining God Pavilion, it had not improved much. The 61st level of spiritual level was not weaker than any expert of the prominent divine realm. In the entire green hell realm, there were only a handful of people whose spiritual level was comparable to his. However, don't forget that he cultivated the bloodline of a divine beast. If he wanted to wield the power of a divine beast as a human, the requirements on his body would increase by several times. Previously, when Qing Su attempted to break through, he would often need his mental strength to be 10 levels higher than his original realm before he could succeed. But now, although the 61st level of spiritual level could allow him to enter the middle stage of the green hell realm, he already felt a little strained when he operated his essential qi. It was like a martial artist whose arm strength allowed him to wield a 30 kilograms long spear. If he forced himself to wield a 40 kilograms long spear, his strength and lethality might increase, but his agility and physical exhaustion would be seriously affected. In the end, his combat power might decrease instead of increasing. This was the problem that Xing Hui was about to face. The middle stage of the green hell realm was still okay, but if he wanted to break through to the late stage of the green hell realm, in that case, the divine grade golden crow vital energy and crimson yang vital energy would be a disaster for him. The number of Taoist rhymes in my body has already reached 103. It sounds like a lot, but if I plan to use the sword essence contained in the broken sword to refine my mind, I will need to use the primordial spirit qi. However, the price of each primordial spirit qi is usually 15 or even 20 Taoist rhymes. 103 Taoist rhymes is simply not enough. Xing Hui rubbed between his eyebrows. Originally, he thought that he could go to the infinite wasteland to squander the 103 Taoist connotations. However, if he really wanted to use the sword essence in the broken sword to refine his spiritual level, he would need at least 5 or 6 portions of qi of primordial spirit to refine his spiritual level to the 70th level. Even if one portion of qi of primordial spirit was priced at 15 Taoist connotations, it would still be enough for him to squander the remaining Taoist connotations. I've already collected all the Taoist connotations overseas. With the foundation of the 10 great sacred sects, I can't openly intervene in the war situation inland for the time being. So, Xing Hui immediately turned his attention to the other continents, or rather to trade across continents. To trade across continents, the first thing he needed was a son of chaos who trusted him enough and was willing to give his spiritual imprint to him. It looks like I'll have to form my own chaos organization, Xing Hui muttered to himself. The next moment, his consciousness appeared in the chaos temple and opened up an area in his vast personal space. He then summoned Lord Jinhai, Ling Yu, and even all the sons of chaos, including Yan Huang and Xian Long. Not long after, all the cultivators under Xing Hui, who were in the chaos level, appeared in this space at the same time. When they saw Xing Hui appear, they hurriedly bowed to Xing Hui. Greetings, Alliance Master. Xing Hui nodded and glanced at them one by one. Some of you have just joined the Life Alliance not long ago, while some of you have been following me since I was weak. Based on the speed of my growth over the years, all of you have speculated that I might be the reincarnation of a mighty figure, or the disciple of a top figure. Ling Yu suddenly raised her head and looked at Xing Hui with shock in her eyes. The others kept sizing up Xing Hui. Could it be that the most mysterious alliance master of the Life Alliance was finally going to reveal his true identity to the public? I can't answer some of your questions due to special reasons, but there's one thing I can reveal to you. My background is indeed far beyond what you can imagine. The remarkable abilities of the person behind me are also beyond the limits of your imagination. Remarkable abilities. Mighty figure? Could it be that there's a mighty figure behind the Alliance Master? Oh my God. No wonder the Alliance Master could take out so many top-notch divine weapons at once. It's because he has the support of a mighty figure behind him. To a mighty figure, divine weapons of level 5 and level 6 are nothing. He can even easily take out a large portion of level 7 and level 8 divine weapons. As Xing Hui revealed his background, the crowd instantly exclaimed in surprise. Ling Yu, on the other hand, looked as if she already knew. The person behind Xing Hui was not just a mighty figure. He was an invincible being who stood at the peak of the entire Infinite Region's experts and was beyond the saint level. A mighty figure? There were more than one or two mighty figures among his disciples. This time, I've been asked by the mysterious person behind me to set up a chamber of commerce. The purpose of this chamber of commerce is to use the Chaos Temple as a base to contact cultivators from all over the world and exchange divine weapons for Taoist rhymes, so that the mysterious person can collect enough Taoist rhymes for him. This kind of thing was not rare in the Chaos Temple. There were many experts in the Chaos Temple who had the incarnation technique. They would use the incarnation technique to obtain enough Taoist rhymes for their daily expenses and daily cultivation. However, although the incarnation technique these cultivators used could impart techniques to exchange for Taoist rhymes, they could not bring divine weapons with them. There were only a handful of people who could bring divine weapons to other continents to trade. The foundation of the Chamber of Commerce is the Chaos Temple, and I've named it the Chaos Element Chamber of Commerce. You will be the first batch of members of the Chaos Element Chamber of Commerce. What you need to do is to advertise the ability of the Chamber of Commerce as much as possible. At the same time, choose a batch of excellent buyers, so that I can report to the mysterious person and let him choose. I can promise you that any customer who completes the transaction will receive a level 6 divine weapon as a reward. If the customer is excellent, I can even give you a level 6 armor or a level 6 flying sword as a reward. Therefore, those who don't have a level 6 divine weapon, please do your best to display your ability. Chapter 263. Xing Hui's words stirred up everyone present. Their faces were filled with excitement. A level 6 divine weapon. As long as the person I choose is chosen by the Almighty behind the Alliance leader, they will be rewarded with a level 6 divine weapon. Oh my God! I'm only at the true energy realm. If I can obtain a level 6 divine weapon, even a spirit and Qi Yunizan expert might be killed by me if they're not careful. Elder Yu Da of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect massacred my entire sect and killed my entire family. However, because he was from a large sect and had the cultivation of divine Qi Yunizan stage, even though my heart was filled with hatred, I could only hide far away in the sea and struggle at death's door, allowing him to do whatever he wanted. However, if I could obtain a level 6 divine weapon, it would no longer be an extravagant hope for me to avenge my family. Qing Su nodded in satisfaction when he saw their reactions. Not only will I announce this matter here, but I'll also announce it in our Life Moon Alliance. As a matter of fact, once the conditions allow, I'll even announce this matter. If anyone, even if they're not from our Life Moon Alliance, can bring in good customers for our Chaotic Essence Association, I'll be generous with their rewards. Moreover, this is the base I've established, so I'll make public the method to enter this space. I'll also prepare some jade talismans here, so anyone who finds a suitable customer can leave a message here. I'll check and choose regularly. And once the selection is successful, a god artifact will be awarded. We will do our best to work for the alliance leader. Okay, let's do that. Remember the method. After Xinghui finished speaking, he passed the method to everyone present. Everyone who received the method immediately dispersed to look for customers that could satisfy the mysterious Almighty. Only Xi and Long remained in the same place and waited. Seeing that everyone had dispersed, Xi and Long stepped forward and bowed. Greetings, Alliance Leader. Xi and Long, you can be considered an old man by my side. Now, you are collecting information for me in the Eastern Sun Empire. But now, it doesn't matter whether you stay in the Eastern Sun Empire or not. If you want to come back or go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect, it's up to you. Moreover, you don't need to be so formal in front of me. Xinghui said with a faint smile. Seeing Xinghui's friendly attitude, Xi and Long was extremely moved. Although he was the first son of chaos to rely on Xinghui, and was later ordered to lurk in the Eastern Sun Empire to collect information about the Hunyuan Heaven sect for Xinghui, even with the cultivation resources of the Life Alliance, he had only cultivated to the true Qi stage after several years. With such a weak cultivation base, he wasn't even qualified to be a guard under Xinghui. But even so, Xinghui's attitude towards him was still the same, which naturally moved Xi and Long. At this moment, he couldn't help but rejoice that joining Xinghui was the best decision he had ever made in his life. Alliance Leader, I've only come into contact with low-level cultivators. However, by chance I met a cultivator. This cultivator's cultivation base was relatively low, only at the true energy realm. Therefore, he was extremely insecure when it came to trading. He was lucky enough to obtain a Taoist vessel that contained more than 30 points of Taoist rhyme, but he had never traded it away. If Alliance Leader needs it, I can immediately call him over. Oh, more than 30 points of Taoist rhyme? Xinghui's eyes lit up. The requirements of low-level cultivators naturally wouldn't be too high. He estimated that he would only need to pay 1 or 2 points of Taoist rhyme. 1 or 2 points of Taoist rhyme, plus the weak cooldown of the incarnation technique, would be able to obtain at least 30 points in return. Xinghui had already decided. Call him over. Yes. Xi and Long immediately retreated. Originally, I planned to put the next point of chaos into comprehension, and use the spark of inspiration that burst forth when my comprehension was upgraded to the 6th stage to the initial stage. However, because of the battle with Yuan He and Qin Zhen, the two great elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, I caught the opportunity to reach the initial stage. Since I've already cultivated this secret technique to the initial stage, this point of comprehension is no longer necessary. In order to ensure that I can continuously obtain more Taoist vessels through trading, the incarnation technique will have to be upgraded by another stage. Xinghui glanced at his character model and muttered to himself. His incarnation technique had now reached the 2nd stage. Even if his essence, qi and spirit were inferior to that of top experts, he could rely on the recovery characteristics of the 6th stage to get through the weakened state in a month and fully recover in 3 months. If he could upgrade the incarnation technique to the 3rd stage, the weakened state would be shortened to 10 days, and the full recovery time would also be shortened to 1 month. Alliance Master, Yu Yan is here. Xi and Long soon reappeared in Xinghui's personal space, bringing with him an ordinary-looking woman who looked to be in her 20s. Although the woman stood in front of Xinghui, there was a trace of caution in her expression, and she looked at Xinghui with a sizing-up gaze. If it were an ordinary expert, they would have already driven her away with a flick of their sleeves. But Xinghui had only recently become a top expert, and had not developed the mentality of a top expert. He didn't mind the gaze of the woman named Yu Yan, and just asked, "How many Taoist rhymes do you have on you? What divine weapons and world treasures do you want to exchange for?" Yu Yan hesitated for a moment. Although she still maintained her vigilance, she still said, "The world treasures I have on me contain 34 Taoist rhymes. As for the things I want to exchange, I've spent some time studying the world treasures that are useful to my four-eyed bird bloodline, and according to the world treasures I have on me, I've already made a list." Xing Hui nodded to Xian Long, and Xian Long immediately stepped forward to receive the list and respectfully handed it to Xing Hui. Xing Hui glanced at the list. The things on it couldn't be considered precious, but there were too many types, and the number was too complicated. Xing Hui shook his head. The people behind our primordial trade union might not spend so much effort to collect these things for you. Make it simple. Make it simple. Yu Yan clenched her teeth. I need the corpse of a four-eyed bird, and it can't be lower than a saint. Although the four-eyed bird could be considered a saint beast, it belonged to the weakest group of saint beasts. Usually, those who wanted to cultivate the phoenix bloodline, vermilion bird bloodline, or blue Luan bloodline would encounter problems, and would have to take a step back and rely on world treasures to cultivate the bloodline between spirit beast and saint beast. A corpse of a four-eyed bird that was not lower than a saint could easily be exchanged for a level 7 divine weapon in the eastern wilderness. Which continent are you from? I need to know the prices of your continent. I'm from the Chongzhen continent. Chongzhen. Fortunately, Xian Long was prepared for this. He immediately went up and explained. Alliance Master. The Chongzhen continent is a small continent, so it's completely unknown in the world, which is why you don't know about it. This continent is around 29 million kilometers away from Heaven Wasteland, but it's not far from our eastern wasteland, only 6 million kilometers away. If you take a Class 6 warship, you'll be able to reach it in less than 2 years. Moreover, there aren't any particularly powerful sects on that continent, so there's no serious monopoly. The prices there are even slightly higher than our eastern wasteland. A single strand of aura can usually be exchanged for a mid-class 5-god artifact. And if you trade with those large merchant associations, you can even get a high-class 5-god artifact. Oh, Xing Hui nodded. Heaven Wasteland Domain was the center of the world left behind after the destruction of the Divine Wilderness, and was also the largest continent in the world. Heaven Wasteland Domain had a department that specialized in mapping out the geographical distribution, and the continents outside Heaven Wasteland Domain were divided into large, medium, and small continents. A continent with more than 10 powerful experts was a large continent, and a continent with more than 10 saint experts was a medium continent. As for small continents, they generally referred to those without saint experts, or those with less than 10 saint experts. For example, the Eastern Wilderness where Xing Hui was from, with more than 10 saint experts, was a medium continent, but it was relatively weak among the medium continents. After all, some of the top medium continents often had 1 or 2 powerful experts personally overseeing them. 6 million kilometers. Xing Hui thought for a moment, then nodded slightly. I can help you accept. According to the prices of your Chongzhen continent, the corpse of a saint expert Chongzhen bird will be worth 30 Dao auras. How about it? I accept. Yu Yan immediately nodded, and then added, I want to exchange the remaining 4 Dao auras for a level 5 middle divine weapon. Xing Hui frowned. A level 5 middle divine weapon, even with the prices of the Chongzhen continent, was worth more than 4 Dao auras. I can accept a level 5 lower divine weapon, but a level 5 middle divine weapon is too high. I'm willing to make up for 4 Dao auras. Xing Hui glanced at Yu Yan, which immediately made Yu Yan shrink her neck. It seemed that the number of Taoist rhymes on this woman was not only 34 as she had said. What kind of opportunity did she get to possess so many Taoist rhymes? No wonder she was so cautious when dealing with anyone and everything. She would rather miss a deal than exchange with someone she could not trust. Xian Long glanced at Yu Yan, and probably also understood this point. He immediately advised, Yu Yan, you can completely trust our alliance master. He is a heaven's pride in the firmament domain, and there is no need for him to deceive his elders for a few dozen Dao auras. Alright, level 8 Dao auras it is. A Saint Realm 4 Bright Bird's corpse, and a level 5 middle divine weapon. The deal is up to you. I won't force it. Xing Hui faintly said. I will pass the message to the mysterious expert behind me. If he is here, he will give a reply in a moment. I ask for senior's understanding. Yu Yan gave a slight bow with an apprehensive expression. Xing Hui nodded. Those cultivators who did not have enough cultivation but exposed themselves as sons of primal chaos, had already died. If not for the fact that Xing Hui had already reached the blue underworld realm, and his battle strength was not weaker than a vision domain great elder, how could he easily reveal the divine technique to others? Even if he now had the battle strength of a vision domain expert, he was trying his best to conceal the fact that his primal chaos realm had already reached the level 27th divine weapon. He even did not hesitate to assume that a groundless mysterious senior was doing business with the primal chaos chamber of commerce. Therefore, he was very understanding of Yu Yan's cautious approach. After a moment he spoke again. He has already agreed. 3 months later, he will head to the Heavy Truth continent. When I need a spiritual imprint, I will inform you. Hearing this, Yu Yan slightly breathed a sigh of relief and respectfully bowed to Xing Hui. Many thanks, Alliance Master. Junior will respectfully await the arrival of that senior in 3 months. Chapter 264. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Beizhongguang's Zhuguang Peak. As the first deputy sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, Beizhongguang was blessed with exceptional resources. The peak he resided on was also the largest area in the entire central district of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. The peak was filled with courtyards and groups of palaces. The number of disciples, attendants, and followers living on the peak numbered in the tens of thousands. From time to time, powerful auras of the Azure Underworld stage would appear. This was the source of Beizhongguang's confidence as the first vice-sect leader. If such a force were to branch out from the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, it would be able to dominate a region no matter where it went. It could even become the ruler of a relatively small continent. At this moment, the elder of the distant fire hall, Zhuri, was respectfully bowing to Beizhongguang on Beizhongguang's Zhuguang Peak. His words were filled with gratitude. If it weren't for Sect Master Bei's rescue, I really don't know what would have happened to me if I had fallen into that kid's hands. Sect Master Bei's help is no less than a life-saving grace to me. From now on, if you have any orders, I, Zhuri, will be at your beck and call without hesitation. Cho Xing Hui relied on the authority given to him by Sect Master to act tyrannically in our Hunyuan Heaven Sect and persecuted our elders. He simply doesn't put the rules and regulations of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect in his eyes. Others are afraid of the power of the Life Alliance behind him and are unwilling to become enemies with him. But I, Beizhongguang, am not afraid. Not to mention, junior sister Yutong has interceded for you. From now on, you will stay on my Zhuguang Peak and don't need to pay attention to the orders of the Sea Calming Hall. I want to see if he has the guts to act presumptuously on my Zhuguang Peak. Beizhongguang's expression was indifferent, but there was an indescribable confidence in his words. Thank you, Sect Master Bei. Thank you, Sect Master Bei. How great would it be if our Hunyuan Heaven Sect could be led by Sect Master Bei? Then, we wouldn't have to worry about using external forces to bully and humiliate us elders in the sect. Zhuri said with a face full of regret. When Beizhonghua heard Zhuri's words, he stood up for him and said, Elder Zhuri, don't worry. This little thief is so presumptuous in our Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Many people in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect don't like him. Just like his Aunt Nalen Fei's Qinglan Peak Summit assembly not long ago, almost no disciples in the sect congratulated her. From this, it can be seen that his actions in the sect have already angered the heavens. It won't be long before the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect will no longer have a place for him. What young Master Beizhonghua said is true. Those who are headstrong and self-opinionated will eventually be caught in their own trap. Elder Zhuri hastily agreed. Beizhongguang glanced at Elder Zhuri, and then at Lan Yutong, who was like a little bird beside Beizhonghua. Zhuri, I heard that you have good alchemy skills. Right now, junior apprentice sister Yutong's cultivation is still weak. She urgently needs enough dawn to break through to the spirit refining realm as soon as possible, or even the spirit and chi unity realm. You will follow junior apprentice sister Yutong and help her refine dawn to assist her in her cultivation. Thank you, big brother. I believe that Elder Zhuri and Yutong will get along well. Erishur Yudo quickly stepped forward and bowed. Elder Zhuri looked at Erishur Yudo. Although he was actually under the control of his former disciple, and had to listen to his orders. It was undoubtedly much better than being seconded to the calming sea palace to work under Tsing Hui. One was losing face, and the other was possibly losing his life. Zhuri naturally knew which was more important. Just as Bei Zhongguang accepted Zhuri and arranged for him to stay at his Zhuguang Peak, a disciple hurriedly reported from below. Sect Master, Great Elder Yuanju invites you to discuss something. Great Elder Yuanju? Bei Zhongguang was slightly startled, but then he nodded with a solemn expression. Okay, I'll go over now. Although there were saint-level ancestors in Hunyuan Heaven Sect, they were usually in closed-door training and almost never showed up. They were the last guardian force of Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Unless there was an all-out war with the forces of the 10 great sacred sects, or the sect was in a life-and-death situation, they would not easily show up. Even Bei Zhongguang, as the first deputy sect master, had only seen the faces of a few ancestors, and had never had any relationship with them. Since Bei Zhongguang couldn't reach the Grand Ancestors level, if he wanted to become the sect leader, he needed to rope in the various Grand Elders of the Grand Elder Council. Yuanju was one of the 3 great elders of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Great Elders Association, who publicly supported him. Bei Zhongguang didn't dare to neglect this person, who could determine whether he could sit on the sovereign's throne in the future. He immediately said to Zhuri, "You can stay on my Zhuguang Peak with peace of mind. As long as I'm here, Zhuo Qingxi won't dare to act presumptuously on my peak, even if he has 1,000 guts. If he really dares to come, I'll make sure he won't be able to return. Therefore, you can rest easy as long as you don't run down the mountain. Yes, from now on, I will stay on the peak and refine pills day and night for Sect Master Bei. I will contribute my insignificant strength to the growth of Zhuguang Peak." Elder Zhuri said modestly, bowing his head extremely low. Bei Zhongguang nodded and followed the disciple, heading straight to Great Elder Yuanju's peak. "Did you see that? Although my brother hasn't won the sect master's throne, he is on good terms with several great elders of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Great Elders Association. Among them, Elder Yuanju is one of the great elders who publicly supports my brother. Do you know why the sect master hasn't announced that he will directly appoint Holy Son Jiesu as the next sect master after he broke through to the Qingming stage? It's because my brother has the strong support of the great elders behind him. Even the sect master has to consider whether or not appointing Jiesu as the future sect master before he has made any great contributions to the sect will cause my brother's dissatisfaction." Bei Zhonghua said proudly to Elder Zhuri as he watched Bei Zhongguang head to Elder Yuanju's peak. Yes, I understand. Even the sect master doesn't dare to easily touch Sect Master Bei. He has to consider Sect Master Bei's attitude when he acts, let alone Cho Tsing Hui, a mere deputy hall master. I won't have to worry about anything if I stay on Sect Master Bei's peak. That's right. Then won't we all have to stay on Big Brother's Zhuguang Peak in the future? Erishur Yudo couldn't help but worry when she heard Bei Zhonghua's words. Don't worry, junior sister Yutong. Bei Zhonghua hurriedly comforted her. Cho Tsing Hui doesn't know what's good for him, and dares to offend my brother. My brother will soon seize the opportunity to completely topple him. He won't be proud for long. Just wait and see. When Cho Tsing Hui is severely punished, and even his cultivation base is crippled and expelled from the sect, it won't be difficult for you to personally deal with him and avenge the humiliation of the past. Erishur Yudo breathed a sigh of relief when she heard this, but she still wore a worried expression. I'm afraid this matter will bring trouble to Big Brother. Bei Zhonghua sneered. Trouble? What trouble can a little deputy hall master be considered? With my big brother's current status in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, apart from the Supreme Elders, Sect Master, Chosen Jiesu, and several ancestors, who else in the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect can cause trouble for him? If he doesn't find trouble with others, others should thank Buddha. Cho Tsing Hui doesn't have the qualifications to become Big Brother's trouble. A smile finally appeared on Erishur Yudo's beautiful face. Then I'm relieved. At this moment Bei Zhonghua, who claimed to be omnipotent and unafraid of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, was rushing to Elder Yuanju's mountain peak at the fastest speed. Apart from Chosen Jiesu, Sect Masters Wakunlun, the Grand Elders, and the first deputy sect master Bei Zhongguang. As a supreme elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, Elder Yuanjua's peak was even better than Bei Zhongguang's. Perhaps the number of buildings and palaces on his peak couldn't be compared to Bei Zhongguang's, but the experts hidden within were above Bei Zhongguang's. In particular, the spirit flowers and herbs planted on the peak, as well as the immortal birds and spirit beasts cultivated, were beyond the imagination of ordinary people. If these foundations were completely transformed into battle strength, it wouldn't be difficult to cultivate several Qingming stage experts in a short period of time. Bei Zhongguang was famous in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and it was rumored that he had a prominent saint stage expert working for him. However, such a prominent saint stage expert was ultimately unpresentable. Moreover, prominent saint stage experts in the outside world couldn't be compared to prominent saint stage experts in a top sect like the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Bei Zhongguang could only rely on the several supreme elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Supreme Elder Council. Therefore, Bei Zhongguang, who was always calm and confident in the eyes of ordinary people, appeared to be very well-mannered and polite when he arrived at Supreme Elder Yuanjua's peak. Even the boy beside Elder Yuanjua was very polite. "Boy, may I know why Elder Yuanjua is looking for me? Please tell me so that I can make preparations." Bei Zhongguang followed behind the boy. He had already secretly handed over a piece of spirit crystal. A peerless spirit crystal was worth 1 to 200 ordinary spirit crystals. It wouldn't be difficult to buy a grade 5 divine weapon, but Bei Zhongguang had given it away so casually. It was clear that Bei Zhongguang was wealthy. Sect Master Bei is too polite. "I don't know about this matter, but the elder summoned you because he learned that you stopped Elder Zhuri, who was supposed to be on loan to the Sea Suppressing Hall, and even took him into Zhuguang Peak. Therefore, I believe that this matter should be related to Elder Zhuri, who was supposed to be on loan to the Sea Suppressing Hall." Sea Suppressing Hall? Elder Zhuri? Bei Zhongguang was slightly taken aback and became even more confused. There were hundreds of palaces of various sizes in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. In the small palaces, there were only 2 hall masters and 1 deputy hall master. In the large palaces, there were more than 10 deputy hall masters. As for elders, there were even more. With Grand Elder Yuanju's status, how could a mere vice hall master and an elder's matter attract his attention? "I don't know the details. The elder didn't mention it to me at all." Speaking of this, the boy seemed to have thought of something. "Oh, that's right. A day ago, the sect held a meeting of the Supreme Elders. Although not all of the Supreme Elders attended, there were 12 Supreme Elders, accounting for 70% of the total. After a preliminary discussion, the Supreme Elders passed a proposal that our Hunyuan Heaven sect may have a new Supreme Elder. I don't know if it has anything to do with this matter." "A new Grand Supreme Elder?" Bei Zhongguang was taken aback. This was no small matter. A Supreme Elder was a top figure who could influence the decision-making of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. In the case where the several ancestors did not intervene in the sect's affairs, the decisions made by the Supreme Elders were equivalent to the future development direction of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Even the selection of the next sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect was decided by the Supreme Elders. Could it be that Supreme Elder Yuanjua summoned me to curry favor with that Supreme Elder and ask for his support? It must be so. At present, even though Jiesu has broken through to the Green Hell realm, due to his arrogance, he is rather arrogant. So far, even though he has obtained the support of many Grand Elders, there are only 5 who have clearly expressed their support. If I can pull this newly promoted Grand Elder to support me, causing the number of Grand Elders supporting me to reach 4, I might not have no hope of competing with Jiesu. Thinking of this, Bei Zhongguang's heart suddenly burned with passion. The sect master's throne, which had been gradually drifting away because of Jiesu's sudden appearance, seemed to be getting closer to him. Chapter 265. Greetings, Elder Yuanju. In Elder Yuanju's study, Bei Zhongguang hurriedly stepped forward and respectfully bowed. "Zhongguang, you're finally here. I came to find you today because I have something important to tell you. A day ago, our Hunyuan Heaven sect held a meeting of the Supreme Elders. There were 12 Supreme Elders present, accounting for half of the total number of Supreme Elders. The decision we made was based on the sect's rules and regulations. During the meeting, we unanimously agreed to add a new member to our Supreme Elder Council and become the new Supreme Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven sect. Bei Chongguang tactfully said, "Please rest assured, Elder Yuanju, I know what to do. Currently, Duan Su has yet to return, and the new Supreme Elder shouldn't have any interest with us. If we can take this opportunity to win him over, it will definitely give us a greater chance of ruling the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future." Elder Yuanju glanced at Bei Chongguang and nodded with some relief. "Very good. You didn't think so highly of me and wholeheartedly supported you. As the saying goes, those who achieve great things don't care about trifles. I originally thought that because of the special status of the new Supreme Elder, and the fact that he has a small conflict with you, it would be embarrassing for you to go and win him over. However, it is commendable that you were able to see the pros and cons of this matter at the first moment. Your breadth of mind and boldness is far from what Duan Su can compare to. I believe that the next sect master of our Hunyuan Heaven sect will be none other than you." When Bei Zhongguang heard Elder Yuanju's words, he immediately felt that something was not quite right. The new Supreme Elder had a special status? He had a small conflict with him? For a moment, Bei Chongguang couldn't help but think hard. "Elder, I wonder who the new Supreme Elder is?" Currently, the top 10 Hall Masters of our Hunyuan Heaven sect have all reached the peak of the Qingming stage and have hopes of condensing a saint body and stepping into the vision domain stage. However, I have always tried my best to maintain a good relationship with these Hall Masters and have never formed any grudges with them. Sometimes during festivals, I would even ask my subordinates to give them generous gifts to maintain friendly relations. Among these people there shouldn't be any conflict with me, right? Hall Master, the person who was promoted to Grand Elder this time, wasn't one of the top 10 Hall Masters of our Hunyuan Heaven sect, but a newly established Vice Hall Master. I believe you've heard of this Vice Hall Master before. He's the Alliance Master of the Life Moon Alliance, the overseas faction that recently surrendered to our Hunyuan Heaven sect, Cho Tsinghui. Elder Yuanju said slowly. However, as soon as the words Cho Tsinghui were mentioned, Bei Zhongguang, who was still thinking about how to gain the favor of the new Supreme Elder, suddenly cried out in shock. "What? The Vice Hall Master of the Sea Suppressing Palace, Cho Tsinghui?" "That's right. This newly promoted Grand Elder is the Vice Hall Master of the Sea Suppressing Palace, Cho Tsinghui. How is that possible? Didn't Cho Tsinghui just join our Hunyuan Heaven sect? Even if he has the power of the Life Moon Alliance behind him, letting him become a Hall Master is already the limit. How could he be directly promoted to the Grand Elder Council and become a Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven sect? Elder, could there be a mistake in this matter?" Bei Zhongguang asked in disbelief, a trace of panic in his voice. Elder Yuanju was somewhat dissatisfied with Bei Zhongguang's questioning words. He snorted softly and said, "The 12 of us Grand Elders, including the sect master, spent half a day discussing in detail and decided to promote the former Vice Hall Master of the Sea Suppressing Palace, Cho Tsinghui, to the 19th Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Grand Elder Council. How could this be false?" "No, please forgive me, Elder. I didn't mean to doubt Elder's words. It's just that." Bei Zhongguang was somewhat at a loss. A mere Vice Hall Master of the Sea Suppressing Palace, who had joined the Hunyuan Heaven sect for less than a month, was directly promoted to a Grand Elder of the Grand Elder Council? He simply couldn't react to such a huge and sudden change. "This matter is absolutely true. I know that you and Hall Master Cho Tsinghui." "No. Elder Cho Tsinghui had some small conflicts because of your good-for-nothing brother. You even secretly wanted to prevent Cho Tsinghui from joining our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Grand Elder Council. But when I learned of the reason why the sect master and the others allowed him to become a Grand Elder, after some consideration, I had no choice but to agree and express my approval. Otherwise, it would be equivalent to our Hunyuan Heaven sect cutting off our own arm. Therefore, Elder Cho Tsing Hui's entry into the Grand Elder Council is already set in stone, and no one can change it. We only need to wait for him to return to our Hunyuan Heaven sect in a day or two, and this matter will be completely announced to the world, and all the sects in the Eastern Wasteland will know. As Elder Yuanju spoke, he solemnly stared at Bei Zhongguang. Zhongguang, as far as I know, you and Grand Elder Cho Tsing we only had some small conflicts, and it's nothing more than a loss of face. Now that Cho Tsing Hui has become a Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elder Council, even if you have the status of a Vice Sect Master, it's nothing for a disciple like you to apologize and give in to him. When you arrived, you also said that a new Grand Elder doesn't have any interest in the other Vice Sect Masters. If we can take this opportunity to rope him in, it will greatly increase our chances of ruling the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future. Therefore, this matter is not only related to your future, but also to whether the support Fa Dai, Yu Lang and the others will receive in the future. Do you understand? Seeing the solemn look on Elder Yuanju's face, Bei Zhongguang felt his heart tremble with fear. The reason why Elder Yuanju, Elder Fa Dai and Elder Yu Lang had spared no effort to support him and push him to the sect master's throne was because once he sat on the sect master's throne, the sect's resources would be slightly tilted towards the 3 Grand Elders in the future, so that they would have a chance to cultivate true Yuan and step into the saint stage in the future. This point could be seen from the fact that there were 3 Vision Saint stage ancestors among the 8 Grand Elders who supported Zhou Kunlun back then. If he were to offend a newly promoted Grand Supreme Elder, just because of his so-called face, and forcefully push this Grand Supreme Elder, who originally had hopes of being pulled to his side, to the opposite side of him, the 3 Grand Elders would be extremely disappointed in him, especially now that Jiesu had appeared out of nowhere. Even if he was arrogant and unruly, he still could not hide his peerless appearance. At that time, the 3 Grand Elders would most likely abandon him and support Jiesu. Once the Grand Elders really did so, Jiesu would have the support of 8 or 9 Grand Elders, and the sect master's throne would no longer have any suspense. At that time, when Jiesu took the throne, what good would happen to him? The first vice sect master, who had once competed with him for the sect master's throne? All the benefits and power he had now, and those followers who believed in his future potential and were willing to follow him around would vanish like smoke. He, Bei Zhongguang, would also be beaten back to his original state, reduced to the level of a hall master at best. Elder I. A trace of pain and hesitation flashed across Bei Zhongguang's face. He was about to say something, but before he could say anything, he was interrupted by Elder Yuanju with a wave of his hand. Zhongguang, I have already said what I need to say to you. You should be able to see that although you have the support of me, Fa Dai, and Yu Lang, the 2 Grand Elders, in reality, you do not have much of an advantage in the competition with Jiesu. It can even be said that you are clearly at a disadvantage. After all, you have been stuck at the peak of the Green Hell Realm for more than 10 years, and there is no hope of entering the Vision Saint stage in a short period of time. In this situation, the forces on our side have already become restless. Some of my subordinate elders, hall masters, and disciples have even faintly mentioned to me that they want us to change sides and make plans early. Otherwise, when Jiesu takes the sect master's throne, even if he cannot do anything to us, it is not difficult for him to reduce the amount of resources we can obtain greatly. Therefore, in this situation, it is inevitable that people will be moved, and we urgently need a strong support to raise the morale of our side. Do you understand? Bei Zhongguang thought about how he had talked with Cho Tsing Hui not long ago, and how he had vowed to let Cho Tsing Hui know the consequences of offending him, if he went to curry favor with him at this time. For a moment he felt his face burning, and he had no face left. Don't think that Cho Tsing Hui is just an ordinary Grand Elder. Elder Yuanju looked at Bei Zhongguang and said meaningfully, originally, with Cho Tsing Hui's ability, even if he has the battle strength to suppress Yuan He and Qin Zhen, the 2 Grand Elders, it is not enough for the sect master and us Grand Elders to make an exception and take him into the Grand Elder Council before he has made any great contributions. But, from what I know, behind that Cho Tsing-hui, there is a great background. It is very likely that he is a disciple of a mysterious almighty being. Battle strength to suppress Yuan He and Qin Zhen, the two Grand Elders? A disciple of a mysterious almighty being from another continent. An almighty being? The content of this sentence made Bei Zhongguang completely dumbfounded. Suppressing Yuan He and Qin Zhen, the two Grand Elders? Cho Tsing-hui's strength was so terrifying, and his identity and background. An almighty being? As the first deputy sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he understood very well what the words almighty being meant. It was an invincible existence that could easily flatten the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect, and even the entire Eastern Wilderness. Even if the Hunyuan Heaven sect had recently joined Shadow Sword and become a part of Shadow Sword, if they dared to offend an almighty being, Shadow Sword would not hesitate to abandon them to appease that almighty being's anger. At this thought, Bei Zhongguang felt his voice tremble. This, Elder, is what you said true? Cho Tsing-hui really has an almighty background, although it is not confirmed yet, but... Elder Yuanjue paused for a moment, and then said seriously, think carefully about Tsing-hui's ability, and then think about his current age. If it weren't for the fact that he has an almighty backing him, how could he possibly be able to suppress two of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's Grand Elders at the age of 30? This. Bei Zhongguang's heart turned completely cold. Elder Yuanjue stepped forward and patted Bei Zhongguang's shoulder. Zhongguang, I've already told you the news. It's up to you to decide what to do. Jiesu is not in the sect, and this is your greatest opportunity. I hope you won't let us down. Chapter 266. When Bei Zhongguang returned to Zhuguang Peak, his mind was still in a daze. At this moment, he felt as if there were 10,000 alpacas galloping through his heart. What happened to a mere vice hall master of Comingxi Palace, not being worth mentioning? What happened to offending the first vice sect master and killing him? What happened to being confident and calm? Damn it all to hell. Bei Zhongguang was fuming. When he thought of Elder Yuanjue's words, his heart was filled with an urge to vent. Elder Yuanjue had already made it very clear. If you don't rope in Cho Tsing-hui, we will fall out with you and no longer support you. In any case, we will never offend that new Grand Elder, who seems to have a powerful backer behind him. As Grand Elders, we have many choices. If we don't support you, we can still support Jiesu. I believe that with 3 Grand Elders changing their allegiance, even if these 3 Grand Elders had gone against him everywhere previously, he would definitely be happy to welcome them with both hands. But if that happened, Bei Zhongguang's glory as a vice sect master would become a thing of the past, and no one would take him seriously anymore. When he thought of the consequences of losing the first vice sect master, and losing his hopes of becoming the sect master in the future, Bei Zhongguang couldn't help but shudder. Just think about the influence of the other vice sect masters in the sect, and you'll know. Perhaps they were half a level higher than ordinary hall masters. When they sought out those hall masters for help, those hall masters would more or less give them face. But for those hall masters ranked in the top 10, what was a vice sect master with no potential to compete for the position of sect master? If he wanted to be able to get whatever he wanted in the sect, it would become an extravagant hope. Sect Master Bei, you're back. I specially went to the kitchen during this time and used my special method to brew a medicinal cuisine. It should have a good effect on Sect Master Bei's body. Just as Bei Zhongguang arrived at his study in a daze, a voice full of flattery rang out beside him. He saw the distant Fire Hall Elder Zhuri, who had just joined their Zhuguang Peak, and was under his protection, standing in front of the study with a charming smile on his face. Behind him, there was a servant that he had brought with him, who was waiting at the side with a bowl of medicinal cuisine for him to enjoy. Looking at Elder Zhuri, the culprit who had also offended Zhuo Qingxiu, Bei Zhongguang, who was originally full of grievances and anger, suddenly exploded. At this moment, he couldn't even care less about his demeanor as the first vice sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. He suddenly kicked Zhuri and roared, "Recuperate my body? Bei Zhongguang, my body is spotty. You're deliberately trying to make me eat your so-called medicinal diet. Are you cursing my body to collapse and become a laughingstock? Get lost. Elder Zhuri, who was waiting for Bei Chongguang's arrival with a flattering expression, was stunned by Bei Chongguang's kick. He didn't even have time to react before he was sent flying and heavily smashed into the attendant behind him. The attendant spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. Even the medicinal cuisine in his hand fell onto Elder Zhuri's body, drenching him like a drowned rat. But his battered and exhausted appearance was nothing. What really frightened Elder Zhuri was that he couldn't understand why the vice sect master Bei Zhongguang, who had been amiable to him in the morning, had become like this after a visit to Grand Elder Yuanju. The change in attitude made Elder Zhuri, who completely relied on Bei Zhongguang, feel uneasy. Take him away. Take him away. Don't make a fool of yourself in front of me. Bei Zhongguang roared furiously in his heart as he stormed towards his own courtyard angrily. Immediately, a Spirit Chi Unity stage guard stepped forward and quickly pulled Elder Zhuri away. Zhuri, who didn't know how he had offended Bei Zhongguang, was filled with fear. A bunch of trash. Trash. You're all trash. Bei Zhongguang flew into a rage when he returned to his courtyard. In just a short moment, he had smashed countless vases and pots in his study. After smashing a few vases and pots to vent his anger, Bei Zhongguang finally calmed down. As the first vice sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he naturally wasn't lacking in wisdom. The reason why he had lost his composure was because he had been used to everything going smoothly for the past few years. Suddenly, he suffered such a big loss in front of Tsing Hui, and his brain couldn't wrap itself around it. Now that he calmed down and thought about it, he immediately understood the core of the conflict between him and Cho Tsing Hui. Since it was impossible to change this matter, as if it had never happened, he began to ponder how to salvage the situation. It's suspected that there's an almighty behind Cho Tsing Hui, although it hasn't been confirmed. From the fact that Cho Tsing Hui was able to cultivate to a level not inferior to an illustrious saint stage expert in a short few years, I can infer that this matter is most likely true. I can't think of anyone else who can teach such an outstanding disciple apart from an almighty personally teaching him, regardless of whether there's an almighty behind Cho Tsing Hui or not, just the potential he's shown. No, it can already be said that he's strong. Just the strength he displayed to suppress the two grand elders, Yuan He and Qin Zhen, is enough for the Hunyuan Heaven sect to rope him in with the position of grand elder. Bei Zhongguang quickly analyzed the cause and effect of this matter in his mind, and quickly straightened out his thoughts. Such an almighty with illustrious saint battle strength, especially a great figure with a high chance of becoming a saint in the future, I can't afford to offend him no matter what. The only way is to resolve the conflict with him as quickly as possible, and the root of our conflict is ultimately Erasure Yudo. Bei Zhongguang quickly grasped the crux of the matter. Thinking of the scheming woman who had bewitched his younger brother, Bei Zhongguang could not help but curse. That bitch actually dares to bring me such a big trouble. Immediately he shouted at the door. Guards! Sect Master, what are your orders? Soon, a spirit refining realm guard appeared outside Bei Zhongguang's study. He half knelt on the ground and asked in a trembling voice. Where did Chonghua go? And Erasure Yudo? Where is that bitch now? Reporting to Sect Master. The young master should be admiring the lotuses in the pond right now. Admiring the lotuses? He's actually in the mood to admire the lotuses. Bei Zhongguang's eyes were filled with dark clouds. Although his relationship with this disciple of his was very deep, it was far from being so deep that he would give up the benefits in his hands for him. For his own future thinking of this, a cold light flashed in Bei Zhongguang's eyes. At this moment, in the direction of the welcoming guest peak in the distance, a burst of heavenly music suddenly sounded. A purple light shot into the sky, dyeing the horizon purple. At the same time, countless petals of primordial chi sprinkled down, filling the void where the welcoming guest peak was located, causing bursts of cheers. And in the Hunyuan peak, a stream of light shot out, heading straight to the guest peak. From the chi that was faintly emitted from the stream of light, the expert heading to the guest peak was impressively a supreme elder. This is the etiquette of the purple chi from the east, the sky full of flower rain. What's going on? What's going on? Immediately send someone to inquire. What kind of esteemed guest has come to visit? Bei Shangguang faintly had a bad premonition in his heart, and hurriedly ordered the guard. In less than 10 minutes, the guard returned and said in disbelief, reporting to sect master, "It's not an esteemed guest who has come to visit, but it's the deputy hall master of the Sea Suppressing Hall, Cho Tsing Hui, who has returned to the Hunyuan Heaven sect." Cho Tsing Hui? How can he be so fast? Didn't Elder Yuan Ju say that he would return in a day or two? How Bei Shangguang's expression changed. Sect Master Cho Tsing Hui might have made a great contribution, so the sect sent the guest hall master and Supreme Elder Du Ming to personally welcome him. Made a great contribution. Bei Shangguang naturally knew why the Hunyuan Heaven sect had mobilized so many people for Tsing Hui's arrival. Supreme Elder. After today, Cho Tsing Hui would become a Supreme Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. It was the first time a Supreme Elder had returned to the sect, so the sect naturally had to show sufficient etiquette. If not for Cho Tsing Hui's hasty arrival that caught the Hunyuan Heaven sect unprepared, the etiquette would have been more than just purple chi from the east and rain of flowers from the sky. At the very least, there would have been a dragon and tiger carriage. Damn it! Immediately tell Bei Shangguang and that bitch Erasure Yudo to come see me. No. Time is of the essence. I have to resolve the grudge between us before the news of him becoming a Supreme Elder is announced to the world. I'll go personally. Bei Shangguang did not have time to explain further. He leaped into the air like a stream of light and headed straight for Bai Chi, which was halfway up Jagwang Peak. On the stone bridge of Bai Chi, Bei Shangguang and Erasure Yudo were accompanied by several maidservants as they wandered around the lotus pond. The two walked hand in hand, and from time to time, maidservants would respectfully serve them tea and snacks. They were truly carefree and at ease. When Bei Shangguang saw this scene, a cluster of anger burned fiercely in his heart. I, the dignified first deputy sect master, am suffering because of you two. I have a belly full of anger, but have no way to vent it. And you two are actually in the mood to stroll around the lotus pond. Swish! Accompanied by the whistling of the stream of light, Bei Chongguang swept up a gust of wind and landed on a platform about 10 meters in front of Bei Chonghua and Lan Yutong. The strong wind pressure immediately caused the maids to cry out in panic. Bei Shangguang was about to get angry, but when he saw that it was his elder brother Bei Shangguang who had come, a smile suddenly appeared on his face. Elder brother, you're here? I wonder why Elder Yuan Ju has called you over. Can you tell us, so we can be happy together? Chapter 267. Have fun. Have fun. Bei Zhongguang stared at Bei Zhongguang with a sneer on his face that was faintly twisted. You want to have fun? If you want to be happy, then I'll make you happy. Bei Zhonghua noticed that Bei Zhongguang's expression didn't seem right, and asked worriedly, Elder brother, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Erasure Yudo faintly felt that Bei Zhongguang's state wasn't right, and hurriedly pulled Bei Zhonghua to stop him. Not feeling well? Hee. Don't you want to know why Elder Yuanju summoned me? Then I'll tell you. After a unanimous discussion, our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Supreme Elder Council has decided to promote one person to the position of Supreme Elder and become the 19th member of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Supreme Elder Council. Supreme Elder? Bei Zhonghua was slightly taken aback, and then he said strangely, a new Supreme Elder should be a good thing, right? At this time, Elder brother should take advantage of the fact that he has just joined the Supreme Elder Council and pull him into your camp to gain his support. Do you think so too? Bei Zhongguang stared coldly at Bei Zhonghua. This, of course. Bei Zhonghua felt a little scared under Bei Zhongguang's gaze, and he braced himself to respond. On the other hand, Lan Yutong, who was standing at the side, considered her words carefully and cautiously said, Big brother, I wonder who this newly promoted Grand Elder is. Can he affect the structure of the Grand Elder Council? Who is this new Supreme Elder? Both of you know this person. You've even met him formally before. We know him. We've met. Bei Zhonghua was even more confused. If we know each other and have met, then it proves that we have a friendship. Isn't that good? It's convenient for us to recruit him in advance. Why does elder brother seem a little unhappy? Bei Zhonghua didn't understand, but Erasure Yudo was extremely intelligent. Based on Bei Zhongguang's sudden change in attitude, and the information revealed in his words. Know him? They had even met before? Bei Zhonghua followed Bei Zhongguang, and saw many palace masters. He knew and met many Green Hell Realm cultivators. But she was Erasure Yudo. The number of Green Hell Realm experts she knew and met could be counted with her fingers. As for those who could make Bei Zhongguang treat them like this, a shocking name suddenly appeared in his mind. Erasure Yudo's face instantly turned pale. Could it be impossible? It can't be him, it can't be him. Have you thought of it? Bei Zhongguang looked at Erasure Yudo coldly. Since you've thought of it, why don't you say it? Erasure Yudo's beautiful eyes widened as she stared at Bei Zhongguang in disbelief. Is it really him? How can it be fake? Bei Zhonghua was confused and hurriedly asked. Junior sister Yutong, elder brother. Who are you talking about? Don't beat around the bush. Tell me. We'll think of a way to please him, and make him support elder brother in competing for the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect Master's throne. Even if the price is too high. Even if the price is too high. Bei Zhongguang said indifferently. Remember what you said. This new Grand Elder is none other than the newly appointed Deputy Palace Master of the Sea Suppressing Palace, the leader of the Life Alliance, and the owner of the other half of Qinglan Peak, Chou Tsinghui. Chou Tsinghui. Bei Zhonghua was slightly taken aback, and Erasure Yudo, even if she had already guessed it, couldn't help but sway and almost fall down after hearing Bei Zhongguang's words. Impossible. How can it be Chou Tsinghui? Who does Chou Tsinghui think he is? He's just a deputy palace master of the Sea Suppressing Palace. How can he become the new Grand Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect? Is this a mistake? Do you think I would joke about this? A cold light flashed in Bei Zhongguang's eyes. How can this be? How can this be? Why did the sect allow this little thief to enter the Grand Elder's Council? Why did the sect let this little thief become our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elder? Bei Zhonghua seemed to think of all the possible consequences of this, and a look of panic appeared on his face. But it couldn't be called fear. Erasure Yudo also looked at Bei Zhongguang with a pitiful expression. Chou Tsinghui had become the Grand Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, and his influence in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect had reached a new peak. This time, all her hopes were pinned on Bei Zhongguang. Bei Zhonghua, over the years I as your brother have done countless things for you. In total I've done at least 80 if not 100. Today it's time for you to work for me. Since you said that no matter the price, you must win him over to our side. Then I'll hand the two of you over to Chou Tsinghui to appease his anger. Don't, Bei Zhonghua hurriedly exclaimed. Brother, you must not hand us over to Chou Tsinghui. Once you do, he will never let us go. Although Chou Tsinghui is a Grand Elder, he can't directly hurt you. At most, we won't provoke him anymore. Won't provoke him anymore. Bei Zhongguang sneered. So what you said before about not caring about anything was just empty talk. If I really let you take action, you'll immediately retreat? You're really my good brother. Do you think we'll be fine if we don't provoke him? Elder Yuanju has already told me that if I can't win over Chou Tsinghui and obtain his forgiveness, he, Elder Fa Dai and Elder Yulang will abandon me in the future and support Jiesu. Once the three of them openly support Jiesu, Jiesu will immediately sit on the sect master's throne. At that time, all the followers who have placed their hopes on me will abandon me, and my future will be completely destroyed. How is this possible? How can the Grand Elders make such a decision for a mere Chou Tsinghui? Haha. The reason behind this is not something you can imagine. In short, you've enjoyed a good life under my protection for so long. Today, it's time for you to contribute your value. Besides, strictly speaking, this matter was caused by the two of you. If you weren't my brother, I would have directly killed you and sent you to Chou Tsinghui. As soon as Bei Zhongguang finished speaking, he immediately shouted, Men, take them down! Xiao. Instantly, several figures whizzed over and landed in front of Bei Zhonghua and Erasure Yudo. Seeing the determined look on Bei Zhongguang's face, even willing to sacrifice his own brother to protect his future, Erisher Yudo's eyes flashed with despair, and his entire body went limp on the ground. Who would have thought? She had exhausted all her schemes, constantly currying favor with the powerful, constantly seeking refuge from one big shot after another in a futile attempt to get rid of Cho Tsinghui's psychological shadow. But in the end, she still fell into the hands of Cho Tsinghui. Grand Elder. Even the first deputy sect master, Bei Zhongguang, couldn't protect her Grand Elder brother. Bei Zhongguang let out a mournful cry. But Bei Zhongguang was determined to sacrifice Bei Zhonghua and the others for his future. He waved his hand fiercely, and several guards of the spirit and chi stage swarmed forward and quickly captured the two. Go and bring that old thing Zhuri here as well. He'll come with me to Qinglan Peak to pay a visit, Bei Zhongguang said. He did not dare to delay, and went straight to Qinglan Peak. Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Peak Master Disciples and Deputy Sect Master Disciples were not far away. Bei Zhongguang escorted Bei Zhonghua, Erisher Yudo, and Elder Zhuri, who was later escorted, and arrived at Qinglan Peak not long after. When they arrived at Qinglan Peak, Bei Zhongguang did not even dare to directly land on Qinglan Peak's square. He respectfully bowed to the disciple guarding Qinglan Peak from a distance. Junior brother, please inform Peak Master Nalen of Qinglan Peak that Bei Zhongguang has specially brought my naughty brother to apologize to Peak Master Nalen and Deputy Peak Master Tsinghui. Bei, Deputy Sect Master Bei. The disciple guarding Qinglan Peak was actually just a member of the royal family of the Weihai Kingdom. His cultivation had just stepped into the awakening stage. Usually, those high-ranking deacons were unreachable in his mind. Who would have thought that such a legendary existence like Bei Zhongguang would personally come to pay a visit? He froze on the spot, unable to react for a while. In this regard, Bei Zhongguang did not dare to be angry. He could only patiently smile. Junior brother, please inform Peak Master Nalen and Peak Master Tsinghui that Bei Zhongguang has come to apologize. The disciple guarding Qinglan Peak quivered, and immediately came to his senses. He hurriedly said, I'll go and report, I'll go right away. After saying that, he actually abandoned Bei Zhongguang and the others, and directly ran into the mountain, leaving Bei Zhongguang and the others alone outside, and for a moment they were in a mess. After all, Bei Zhongguang and the others came to pay a visit. Even if the disciples needed to ask the Peak Master for permission, they should first be invited to the living room to sit quietly and serve tea, snacks, and other things. How could it be like now, where the person went to report and directly left the guests outside the door? However, because Bei Zhongguang, the first deputy sect master, had personally said that he wanted to suppress the development of Qinglan Peak, many experts who originally relied on Qinglan Peak left Qinglan Peak one after another. So Qinglan Peak faintly fell into a situation where there was no one to rely on. They could only rely on the Weihai Kingdom's awakening stage disciple to hold up the facade. Because this disciple was originally a member of the royal family, he did not understand the etiquette of hospitality. Therefore, he inadvertently gave Bei Zhongguang a show of strength. But in this regard, Bei Zhongguang could only accept it, and did not dare to show the slightest dissatisfaction. Bei Zhongguang and the others were left outside Qinglan Peak. After a long time, the nearby peaks naturally knew about it. These peak disciples saw Bei Zhongguang's cautious appearance and escorted Bei Chonghua, Zhuri, and Erisher Yudo to apologize. They all felt that it was inconceivable. For a while there was a lot of discussion, which made Bei Zhongguang and the others lose face. Fortunately, Nalen Fei was not the disciple guarding Qinglan Peak. After receiving the report, even if she was previously dissatisfied with Bei Zhongguang's suppression of Qinglan Peak, she still sent a message to Tsinghui and the others to welcome them inside. She waited for Tsinghui to return from Hunyuan Peak to deal with this matter. Chapter 268. Bei Chongguang Clan Leader Bei. The main hall of Qinglan Peak. Nalen Fei looked at the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's first deputy sect master, then glanced at Zhuri, Erisher Yudo, and even Bei Chonghua, who were escorted behind him, with a strange look on her face. If Sect Master Bei came for Tsing Hui, then he obviously isn't suitable. Sect Master summoned him, and he's currently on Hunyuan Peak. I understand. I can wait here. Bei Chongguang put his posture very low. After glancing at Nalan Fei, he quickly said, I was delayed by something at the last Peak Master Nalan Summit, so I didn't have time to attend and congratulate you. It's really my fault. Although it's not the golden time to congratulate you, I still prepared a gift for Peak Master Nalan. I hope Peak Master Nalan will accept it. As he spoke, he clapped his hands. Immediately, 2 spirit refining cultivators carried a box and walked forward. I've heard that Peak Master Nalan cultivates the Azure Luan bloodline. Treasures related to the Azure Luan bloodline are inconvenient to obtain, so I don't have anything that I can take out. However, the Azure Luan is a variant sacred beast of the Phoenix. Some treasures related to the sacred beast of the Phoenix can also have a good effect on the Azure Luan bloodline. I just happen to have a Fire Phoenix feather robe that I obtained from an ancient cave. Its defensive grade is not high, only equivalent to a 5th-tier armor. However, wearing this Fire Phoenix feather robe, not only will it greatly increase the efficiency of techniques related to one's body, it will also have indescribable benefits in tracing back and comprehending the mysteries of the Azure Luan bloodline. Fire Phoenix feather raiment? A light flashed in Nalan Fei's eyes. More than one of these Fire Phoenix feather garments made from phoenix feathers had been unearthed in the past, and each of them could be sold for an extremely high price. Back then, a Grand Elder of the Jin Wu religion had directly bid for a Fire Phoenix feather garments at the price of a 6th-tier divine weapon. Although this price was slightly higher overall, it was enough to prove the astonishing value of the Fire Phoenix feather garments. However, when she recalled that Bei Chongguang was here to beg Tsing Hui for mercy, she felt that it would be inappropriate for her to accept the gift before Tsing Hui spoke. As such, she only said, Sect Master Bei Chongguang, this gift is too precious. I, Nalan Fei, am unable to accept it. Peak Master Nalan is too polite. In the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect, the one most qualified to wear this feather robe is Peak Master Nalan. I hope Peak Master Nalan won't refuse Senior Brother's kind intentions. Sect Master Bei Chongguang, please take it back. Before Nalan Fei could finish speaking, a voice sounded out from the sky. Because of Bei Chongguang, Senior Apprentice Sister Nalan's founding peak assembly came to an end. It started strong but ended weak. It's reasonable for him to offer such a treasure as an apology. Just accept it. While speaking, Tsing Hui and Lei Jing, the Deputy Hall Master of the Operation Hall, appeared on the mountain peak one after another. Seeing the 2 people appear in the void, Bei Chonghua's eyes flashed with anger, while Erishur Yudo wore a pitiful expression. On the other hand, Elder Zhuri's eyes were filled with uncontrollable fear. Cho Tsing Hui, Deputy Sect Master Bei Chongguang, we parted ways 10 days ago. How have you been, Sect Master Bei Chongguang? Tsing Hui said indifferently. Bei Chongguang's face twitched slightly, but he still forced a smile and said in a fawning manner, Elder Tsing Hui, I really didn't know the inside story of the Tianji Pavilion 10 days ago. I was deceived by my stupid brother, Zhuri and Erishur Yudo, and that's why I offended Elder Tsing Hui with my words. In order to seek Elder Tsing Hui's forgiveness, I specially escorted these people here. You can kill them or cut them up as you please. After speaking, Bei Chonghua, Erishur Yudo, and Elder Zhuri were escorted to Tsing Hui by his followers. You and I are both members of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and I'm an elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. You can't abuse your authority and harm your fellow sect members. You must be punished by the sect's rules. Even the sect master has to abide by this. Bei Chonghua understood that he had been completely abandoned. He could no longer rely on his elder brother Bei Chongguang. He immediately spoke to Tsing Hui with a terrified expression. Abuse my authority? As the supreme elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, how can I abuse my authority and punish a member of the sect? Just based on the disrespect in your words, I can punish you for the crime of slander. You should know that slandering a supreme elder can be light or heavy. If it's light, you can just slap yourself. If it's heavy, You can be killed on the spot by the Supreme Elder without any complaints. Xing Hui said indifferently. For a moment, Bei Chonghua's face turned deathly pale again. He turned to Bei Chongguang in horror and begged, "Elder brother, save me, save me. No, junior sister Yutong, I don't want to. Elder Xing Hui only has enmity with junior sister Yutong and Juri. I will draw a clear line with them, please save me." Bei Chonghua's words made Erasure Yudo, who had placed a glimmer of hope on him, sway slightly. She was almost knocked unconscious by this huge blow. "Bei Chonghua, you!" Slap. Before Erasure Yudo could speak, Bei Chonghua had already turned around and slapped Erasure Yudo's face. She couldn't help but stagger and fall to the ground. A bright red palm print covered her pretty white face. "Shut up. If it weren't for the fact that you've offended the great elder of Qing Su, why would I have fallen into your trap and become an enemy of the great elder? You don't even know who you are. Compared to Supreme Elder Xing Hui, you are like heaven and earth. It was your great fortune that Supreme Elder Xing Hui took a fancy to you. But you didn't know. Instead, you deceived Supreme Elder Xing Hui. Today is the time for you to pay the price for what you did in the past. Bei Chonghua, I was blind to fall in love with you." Erasure Yudo looked at Bei Chonghua, who didn't care about anything in order to protect himself. She immediately glared at him and gnashed her teeth. "Like me? What do you mean like me? Do you think I can't see it? You painstakingly approached me just to borrow my elder brother's power, to become your enemy against Supreme Elder Xing Hui. Do you think I'm so stupid?" "Bah!" Bei Chonghua fiercely scolded Erasure Yudo, then hurriedly turned around and knelt in front of Xing Hui. "Elder Xing Hui, I have already drawn a clear line with that bitch Erasure Yudo. From now on, if that bitch wants to kill or torture me, Supreme Elder Xing Hui will do as she pleases. At the same time, I also admire Supreme Elder Xing Hui's legendary deeds of establishing the Life Moon Alliance overseas. I want to follow Supreme Elder Xing Hui and serve Supreme Elder Xing Hui." Xing Hui glanced at Bei Chonghua, who had ruthlessly abandoned Erasure Yudo, and shamelessly said that he wanted to serve him. He sneered inwardly. Currently, he was in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. In front of so many people, he really couldn't do anything to Bei Chonghua, Erasure Yudo, Juri and the others. At least he couldn't do anything to them. But outside of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, since you admire my legendary deeds of establishing the Life Moon Alliance overseas, and want to follow and serve me, then I will grant your wish and give you this opportunity. Hall Master Lei Jing, please transfer Bei Chonghua's file to my C-suppressing hall. In addition, Elder Juri, your file has long been transferred to my C-suppressing hall. Why haven't you reported it yet? As for Erasure Yudo, she is your disciple, right? If you go to the C-suppressing hall, she will naturally have to follow you. In a few days, I will be heading overseas. At that time, you will all come with me." Bei Chonghua couldn't help but shudder when he heard that Xing Hui was really going to take him to the C-suppressing hall. In the Hunyuan Heaven sect, if Xing Hui wanted to kill them, he would at least have to find a dignified reason. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to explain it to the sect. But once he went overseas with Xing Hui, his life and death would be completely in the hands of Xing Hui. If Xing Hui wanted them to live, they would be able to live without worries overseas. If he wanted them to die, he only needed to arrange them to be at the forefront of conquering other overseas islands. With the help of the Qingming Stage Sea Overlords, they could be killed in one fell swoop. Even the Hunyuan Heaven sect wouldn't be able to pursue the matter. After all, how could there be no casualties when conquering islands and expanding the territory of the Hunyuan Heaven sect? This Elder Xing Hui, I think you should also need some people on Qinglan Peak. Although I want to follow Elder Xing Hui to expand the territory overseas, but Bei Chonghua hurriedly wanted to change his words. But Xing Hui didn't intend to give him a chance to change his words. In the Tianji Pavilion, if it weren't for Bei Chonghua's exaggeration, he wouldn't have completely broken down with Bei Chongguang. "It's settled then. Master Lei Jing, I'll have to trouble you to handle this matter as soon as possible. I'm in a hurry to return to the sea-suppressing hall, so treat this as a special case." Lei Jing smiled and nodded. "Don't worry, it will take at least 1 day to complete the procedures. Of course, we will need the cooperation of Deputy Sect Master Bei. After all, Bei Chonghua is a disciple under Sect Master Bei. Although Bei Chongguang knew that Bei Chonghua wouldn't have a good end if Xing Hui took him overseas, he had already made a concession and completely lost face. How could he care about Bei Chonghua's life and death? He immediately ignored Bei Chonghua's pleading eyes and waved his hand. Please rest assured, Master Lei. Later, I will send someone to bring Master Lei to Juguang Peak, and I will do my best to cooperate with Master Lei. Then I thank Deputy Sect Master Bei Chongguang. You are the most outstanding junior of our Hunyuan Heaven sect. Looking at the entire sect, no one can be compared to you except chosen Jiesu. We still have to get closer to each other. Xing Hui said with a faint smile. Seeing that Xing Hui finally did not intend to pursue this matter any further, Bei Chongguang breathed a sigh of relief. Elder Xing Hui is too polite. In the future, I will definitely come to visit Elder Xing Hui more often. Xing Hui nodded and swept a glance over Qinglan Peak. The peak is simple and crude, so I won't keep Sect Master Bei Chongguang any longer. Sect Master Bei Chongguang, please make yourself at home. I also don't want to disturb Elder Xing Hui's cultivation, so I will take my leave. Bei Chongguang respectfully bowed and quickly retreated. He didn't even look in the direction of Bei Chonghua, Erisher Yudo or Zhuri. Chapter 269. After Bei Chongguang left, Xing Hui glanced at the panicking Bei Chonghua, Erisher Yudo, and Zhuri with an indifferent expression and said, "Take them away. When we return to the Life League, the Sea Suppressing Palace, bring them directly to the Sea Suppressing Palace." Yes, the Life League's Unity of Spirit Realm experts on the mountain peak answered. Xing Hui nodded and walked towards the Mountain Peak Palace together with Nailin Fei. Nailin Fei turned around and looked at the pale and pitiful Erisher Yudo. Then she turned to Xing Hui and said, "This Erisher Yudo is quite pitiful. Especially after reaching the true energy realm. Her temperament has improved. Xing Hui, you were extremely infatuated with her in the past. Now that she has fallen into your hands, are you sure you don't want to take her in and enrich your harem? This woman is naturally far from enough to be the main wife, but she is quite beautiful as a concubine. In addition to the feelings you had when you were young, why don't you think about it? If you're worried that she'll have other ideas, just cripple her true energy cultivation, injure her meridians, and end her cultivation path." At this point, Nailin Fei smiled faintly. Without her cultivation and in your territory, even if she has thousands of tricks and schemes, she won't be able to use them. Xing Hui glanced at Nailin Fei and shook his head speechlessly. This isn't something that senior sister Nailin needs to worry about, right? Why don't I need to worry about it? Although the saintess of the Jin Wu religion, Lai Wuyang, is in love with you, I can see that in her heart, the future of the Jin Wu religion is more important than yours. Therefore that woman, unless you can completely subdue her and let her come back to take care of your husband and children, you'll be running around in the future. On the other hand, Erisher Yudo's life and death, honor and disgrace are in your hands. You can do whatever you want with her, and there won't be any trouble. You can use her to enrich your harem and continue your Zhou family's bloodline. Why not? Let's not talk about this for the time being. Let's talk about the next plan of Qinglan Peak. You're growing faster and faster, and it won't be long before you meet the standards of the powerful figure behind you. At that time, you'll most likely follow that powerful figure to the Infinite Wasteland domain. Once you go to Infinite Wasteland domain, it won't be easy to return. Because of cultivation, a closed-door training can take years or decades. By the time you return to the Eastern Wasteland domain, it won't be strange for decades or even centuries to have passed. At that time, it's unknown whether your parents will still be alive or not. You can't let them not see their grandchildren and enjoy the joy of having so many children and grandchildren before they die. This matter. Xing Hui really didn't know how to respond to Nailin Fei's words. He was indebted to Cho Xing Hui's physical body. If he wanted to completely end this karma, the best way was to pass on the Zhou family's bloodline. Only then could he be considered to have completed his merit. It was just that, shaking his head, Xinghui didn't want to discuss this matter any further. Let's not talk about this for the time being. When the boat comes to the bridge head, it will cross that bridge. There's no point in forcing it. When Nalan Fei heard this, she also sighed. I really don't want to see my brother anxiously waiting for a successor day and night. Although she had high hopes for Xinghui, and as a junior, Xinghui's achievements had already surpassed hers, and he had become a towering tree that she needed to rely on, she still valued Zhuoshiri's opinion more than once. Zhuoshiri had evidently asked Nalan Fei to persuade Xinghui to pass on the Zhuo family's bloodline more than once. It was because of this that Nalan Fei seemed to be so attentive and would frequently give advice. The addition of a new Grand Elder to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elder Council was an important matter that had to be announced to the entire sect. Due to the matter of Beishang Guang and Xinghui's recent return to the sect, the Hunyuan Heaven Sect still needed to make preparations. Early the next morning, the Records Hall Master personally came to Qinglan Peak, where Xinghui was, and invited Xinghui to the Nine Saints Peak, which was specially used by the Grand Elder Council for meetings. The Nine Saints Peak was where the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elders resided. The Nine Saints referred to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's most glorious era, when Nine Saint stage experts dominated the world. That era was also the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's golden age. It was precisely because of the ancestors of the Nine Saints Peak that the Hunyuan Heaven Sect was able to possess such a vast territory and sit firmly on the throne of the Eastern Wilderness 10 great sacred sects. When Xinghui arrived at the Nine Saints Peak, there were already many people waiting there, especially the 13 figures in the hall. Without exception, all of them exuded a vast and majestic aura. Xinghui, who didn't have any saint techniques, felt a chill run down his spine. If the 13 figures attacked at the same time, the power they contained would be earth-shattering. Even a saint stage expert could be killed on the spot. Hall Master Xinghui has arrived. Is this Cho Xinghui? If it weren't for Elder Yuan He and Elder Qin Ran's words, I wouldn't believe that this child has the ability to suppress 2 Grand Elders. Don't forget that Hall Master Xinghui is suspected to be the disciple of an almighty. With the means of an almighty who stands at the peak of the world, how difficult is it for them to train a Qingming stage disciple who can suppress 2 prominent saint stage elders? That's true. Although our Hunyuan Heaven Sect has joined the Shadow Sword Sect and become a follower of the Sword Master of Slaughter, the Sword Master of Slaughter is an invincible figure who has mastered remarkable abilities. He has countless followers, and our Hunyuan Heaven Sect can't be considered outstanding. It's not impossible to find another way out through Zhuo Qingshu, but this matter has to be done secretly and slowly, so as not to arouse the displeasure of the Sword Master of Slaughter. The various Grand Elders discussed spiritedly, but all of them looked at Xinghui with a trace of friendliness. Hall Master Xinghui, please take a seat. The person in charge of the Grand Elder meeting was not Sect Master Zhuo Kunlun. Zhuo Kunlun held the greatest authority in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, but in reality, he was only an executor. The Grand Elders would discuss the future development of the sect and hand it over to Sect Master Zhuo Kunlun. Zhuo Kunlun would then carry it out, and the Grand Elders had the duty to cooperate. The person in charge of the Grand Elder meeting was the second-ranked Grand Elder, Nine Nether, an existence who stood at the peak of the prominent saint stage. Hall Master Xinghui, as the first elder, has faintly sensed an opportunity to transform his true Yuan saint body. He has been in closed-door cultivation since a year ago. I will be in charge of today's meeting. Thank you for your trouble. Xinghui nodded. However, I hope that all the Grand Elders will agree to my suggestion yesterday. My identity can be spread to the upper echelons of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, but there is no need to announce it to the outside world. This way, I can be used as a surprise army to defeat the enemy at a crucial moment. I'm afraid it won't be easy to keep this matter under wraps any longer. However, Hall Master Qing Su only seems to be at the Blue Darkness realm after all, so you might be able to confuse us. If Hall Master Qing Su doesn't wish to publicize this matter, why don't we just hide your actual strength and announce to the public that you've made an exception and joined the Great Elder Council, because you've made great contributions to the sect and possess a boundless future. However, the necessary procedures cannot be omitted. I hope that Hall Master Xing Hui will cooperate. That's good. Xing Hui smiled faintly. His battle prowess that allowed him to suppress the two Grand Elders was ultimately due to the saint art. If the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's people praised him for being able to stand on equal footing with illustrious saint stage experts, he would truly be courting death. Please. As Nine Nether spoke, she began to guide Xing Hui through the various steps required to join the Grand Elder meeting. During this period, he naturally needed to meet the founder and ancestors of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect had existed for over 10,000 years, and there were already 19 generations of disciples. On average, they would open the sect gates once every 500 to 600 years. As for the disciples that the elders thought highly of and temporarily brought into the sect, it would be calculated based on the seniority of the elders. The process of joining the Grand Elder meeting was solemn and complicated. Even though cultivators always paid attention to efficiency, half a day had passed by the time Zhou Yuan was truly accepted into the Grand Elder meeting and given a Grand Elder meeting token. As the token was given out, 36 consecutive bell rings rang out on the Nine Saints Peak, spreading throughout the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Zhuguang Peak. The teacup in Bei Chongguang's hand shattered to pieces. I really became a Grand Elder. Damn it. He swept a glance over the Zhuguang Peak, which was clearly much emptier than before, and his face immediately turned gloomy. I, Bei Chongguang, have never been humiliated like this since I became the Vice Sect Master. Just you wait, Cho Xing Hui. This matter won't end like this. Unless I never break through to the prominent saint stage and never become the sect master or Grand Elder, I will repay today's humiliation tenfold, no 100-fold. After speaking, he abruptly roared outside. Men, pass down the order to seal the mountain for 3 years. I'm going into closed-door cultivation to break through to the prominent saint stage. Prominent saint stage. Break through to the prominent saint stage. As long as he reached the prominent saint stage, with the help of the prominent saint stage assassin he had planted, revenge would not be an extravagant hope. This isn't the end. Zhuguang Peak immediately became lifeless, while Qinglan Peak was filled with cheers and laughter. Countless cultivators, who had long since submitted to Naylan Fei, and had not abandoned her in the face of Zhuguang Peak's oppression, celebrated together. They had already received some news from Bei Chongguang's visit, and now that they finally received confirmation, everyone was naturally overjoyed. That's great, that's great. Big Brother has become a Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect. That's amazing. In the Zhua family courtyard, Zhua Yunqing's face was filled with joy from the bottom of his heart. Grand Elder. In Zhua Shiri's heart, elder-level figures were already extraordinary existences. He only knew that the Supreme Elder was more powerful than the elders, but he couldn't imagine how powerful the Supreme Elder was. He only knew that the Supreme Elder's status was the most respected in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Now that Xing Hui has become a Grand Elder, he should be able to go to the Jin Wu religion to propose marriage to Saintess Lai Wuyang, right? Of course, that's a Grand Elder. Our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elder's status is much more important than that of the Jin Wu religion's Grand Elder. Lai Wuyang is only the vice sect master of the Jin Wu religion, and has yet to inherit the sect master throne. Even if she really becomes the sect master of the Jin Wu religion, it won't be a disgrace for Big Brother to be with her. That's good, that's good. Zhua Shiri and his wife breathed a sigh of relief. He pondered in his heart that he should go to Naylan Fei and ask Naylan Fei to urge him. At present, given Xing Hui's status, the only person who could make him listen was Naylan Fei. Chapter 270. Xing Hui, I didn't expect you to reach such a height in just a few years. It's really incredible. Qinglan Peak. In Naylan Fei's study, Naylan Fei, who was wearing a sky blue dress and exuding an elegant aura, said with a smile, Height. Xing thought of his cultivation goal, which had already passed half the time, and shook his head slightly. This level is still far from my goal. The goal in your heart. Nailin Fei looked curiously at Xing. What is your goal? Xing shook his head. He couldn't tell Nailin Fei that his goal was to shatter the vacuum as soon as possible, find ancient god Jun's cave dwelling, and return to Earth. At that moment, someone suddenly came in and reported. Peak Master Grand Elder. The Peak Master of Void Origin Peak wishes to see you. Peak Master of Void Origin Peak? Nailin Fei was taken aback by the guard's report. The Peak Master of Void Origin Peak was one of the forces that Nailin Fei had joined when she first joined the Hunyuan Heaven sect. But later, Nailin Fei and Fairy Bayou had a conflict, and the Peak Master of Void Origin Peak was clearly biased towards Fairy Bayou. This caused Nailin Fei to gradually drift away from Void Origin Peak until she established her own peak. And now, the Peak Master of Void Origin Peak had come to visit at such a time. Let him in. If he knows what's good for him, we can spare him this time. After all, you are someone who will compete for the position of Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future. It's impossible that you don't have support among the disciples. The Peak Master of Void Origin Peak has been a Peak Master disciple for a long time, and is one of the best among the Peak Master disciples. If we can annex his faction, Qinglan Peak will rise completely, and it won't be difficult for us to compete with the lower-ranked deputy sect masters. Swallow up his forces. I'm afraid the Peak Master of Void Origin Peak won't give in so easily. No, he won't. Senior Sister Nailin, don't forget that we have a huge leverage over him. Leverage? Nailin Fei's eyes lit up. The Black Hole Sutra? That's right, it's the Black Hole Scripture. With my current status as a Great Elder, there shouldn't be any problem for me to read the first few levels of the Black Hole Scripture. All I need to do is make some contributions when I come into contact with the core inheritance. As a result, the balance between me and the Peak Master of Void Origin has been broken. If he doesn't want to be severely punished for leaking the Black Hole Scripture, joining us is his only choice. You're right, especially Xing. You've already become a Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven sect. It's Yuan Kong's honor to have a Grand Elder as his backer. Xing nodded. Let him in. With the Green Ruins order, the guard left quickly. Before long, the rather polite Peak Lord of Void Origin arrived in the study under the guard's lead. When he saw Xing sitting in the study, a trace of bitterness flashed in the Sky Origin Peak Master's eyes, but he immediately stepped forward and respectfully bowed. Greetings, Great Elder. Greetings, Junior Sister Nailin. No need to be so courteous, Sky Origin Peak Master. Speaking of which, the relationship between the two of us is quite deep. Nailin Fei said with a faint smile. Seeing that Nailin Fei was so kind, the Sky Origin Peak Master felt flattered and hurriedly said, Junior Sister Nailin is right. The relationship between the two of us is quite deep. Since we've established a friendship, our two peaks should interact more in the future. When Junior Sister Nailin established the peak, I was delayed by external affairs, and did not have the time to congratulate you. This is my negligence as your senior brother. Fortunately, it's not too late to send a congratulatory gift today. Junior Sister Nailin has awakened the Azure Luan bloodline. Not long ago, especially went to Wanxiang City to purchase a portion of the Azure Luan sacred beast's blood. Although its effects cannot be compared to Essence blood, the Saint Stage Azure Luan's blood is not bad. I hope Junior Sister Nailin will not dislike it. While speaking, the Sky Origin Peak Master had already stepped forward and handed over a jade bottle with both hands. Nailin Fei glanced at Xing. After Xing gave a slight nod, she stepped forward and received the jade bottle. She nodded slightly and said, Senior Brother Sky Origin Peak Master is too kind. Please take a seat. The fact that she addressed him as Sky Origin Peak Master and Senior Brother Sky Origin Peak Master fully demonstrated the difference between them. I wouldn't dare. Actually, I came here this time because I obtained some treasures by chance. These treasures are all Dao-carrying treasures, and contain quite a lot of Dao-carrying treasures. I've heard that Great Elder Xing had exchanged level 5, or level 6 weapons for Dao-carrying treasures in the Life Moon Alliance. I also want to use these Dao-carrying treasures to ask Great Elder Tsing Hui for a level 5 low-quality divine weapon. I hope Great Elder Tsing Hui can make things easier for us on account that we belong to the same sect. As the Sky Origin Peak Master spoke, he took out a dozen or so Dao-carrying treasures of various sizes from his personal space. Of course, he didn't really need Tsing Hui to make things easier for him on account that they belonged to the same sect. After all, it wasn't difficult for a Peak Master disciple to purchase a level 5 low-quality divine weapon. When he said to make things easier for him, he was clearly trying to express his goodwill to Tsing Hui. He hoped that Tsing Hui wouldn't threaten him with the Black Hole Sutra. As for the dozen or so Dao-carrying treasures of various sizes, that was his sincerity in asking for forgiveness. Seeing these Dao-carrying treasures and the notification from the Chaos Divine Hall, Tsing Hui revealed a trace of satisfaction in his eyes. 20 Dao-carrying treasures. Dao-carrying treasures that contained 20 Dao-carrying treasures. The Void Origin Peak Master was a Divine Chi Unity Peak Master, yet he was willing to take out so many Dao-carrying treasures as an apology. He had to admit that he had done everything he could. If he could find a merchant to trade for these 20 Dao-carrying treasures, it wouldn't be difficult for him to purchase a level 6 divine weapon. Peak Master Sky Origin is very considerate. It's only a level 5 low-quality divine weapon. I can hand it over to you now. Tsing Hui nodded and kept the Dao-carrying treasures in his personal space. He then said, "Since Peak Master Sky Origin is willing to exchange Dao-carrying treasures for divine weapons, why don't we continue to work together? I will continue to exchange Dao-carrying treasures for divine weapons, but I don't have any suitable people in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. I wonder if Peak Master Sky Origin can do this for me?" A trace of hesitation flashed across the Sky Origin Peak Master's heart. If he worked for Tsing Hui, he would naturally have to follow his lead in the future. Sky Origin, who wanted to compete for the Vice Sect Master's position, and even the Sect Master's position in the future, was unwilling to accept this. However, when he thought of how the first Vice Sect Master, Bei Chongguang, had admitted defeat in front of Tsing Hui, and how Chosen Jiesu had reached the Qingming stage, the chances of him sitting on the Sect Master's throne were 80 to 90%. Even if he broke through to the Qingming stage, or even the illustrious Saint stage in the future, he might not be able to become the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Sect Master. Rather than that, it was better to rely on a Grand Elder and obtain their protection. At the very least, he wouldn't have to worry about his safety in the future. Cho Tsing Hui was already a Grand Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect at such a young age. It wouldn't be difficult for him to become a saint expert in the future. Now that Cho Tsing Hui was willing to recruit him, how could he refuse? The Peak Master of Void Origin immediately bowed. "Thank you for your kindness, Great Elder. Void Origin is willing to serve the Great Elder of Qingsu. I will not hesitate to follow you wherever you go." Very good. Tsing Hui couldn't help but be surprised to see the Sky Origin Peak Master adapt to the situation. However, Nalan Fei could understand the Sky Origin Peak Master's thoughts. If it was only the Deputy Hall Master of the Sea Suppressing Hall, Qing Su, who wanted to recruit the Sky Origin Peak Master, even if he had something on him, the Sky Origin Peak Master might not be willing to let the matter go. Even if the Sky Origin Peak Master agreed on the surface, he would definitely be up to no good behind the scenes. However, Qing Su had already stepped into the Hunyuan Heaven sect's highest authority, the Grand Elder's Council, and had become the Hunyuan Heaven sect's 19th Grand Elder. With such a status, even a deputy sect master would have to be careful to befriend him, and numerous hall masters would take the initiative to pledge their allegiance to him. As a mere peak master, it was already extremely generous of him to be chosen by Qing Su. How could he dare to be picky? If he really did infuriate a great elder like Qing Su, there was no need for him to reveal anything that could be used against him. All he needed to do was give the order, and it would be enough to completely shut him out. He would never be able to advance in the future. "I won't be staying in the Hunyuan Heaven sect for long. Instead, I will be going back and forth to the overseas world. Therefore, you should mainly listen to Senior Sister Nalan's orders. If I find out that you've been feigning compliance with Senior Sister Nalan's orders, don't blame me for disregarding our friendship. The Sky Origin Peak Master trembled in fear when he heard Xing Hui call Nalan Fei Senior Sister. Nalan Fei called him Senior Brother, but Grand Elder Xing Hui called Nalan Fei Senior Sister? If he Sky Origin really didn't know what was good for him and called Nalan Fei Junior Sister, did he think he could climb above Grand Elder Xing Hui and make Grand Elder Xing Hui call him Senior Brother? The Sky Origin Peak Master hurriedly responded in fear. Yes, yes, please rest assured Grand Elder Xing Hui. If Lady Nalan has any orders, I Sky Origin will do my best. I won't dare to be the slightest bit negligent. Then I'll be waiting for your performance. Xing Hui responded indifferently, setting the tone of the matter. All right, if there's nothing else, you may leave. Remember to visit Qinglan Peak more often in the future, and listen to Senior Sister Nalan's orders. Yes, Sky Origin will definitely come to pay respects to Lady Nalan every morning. After speaking, the Sky Origin Peak Master bowed deeply again. Sky Origin will not disturb Lady Nalan and Grand Elder any longer. I will take my leave first. Watching the Sky Origin Peak Master leave the study, Nalan Fei couldn't help but complain to Xing Hui. Sky Origin Peak Master was my superior back then, and I owed him a little care when I first entered the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Look at how you scared him just now. If I didn't show my power to Sky Origin, you might not have been able to suppress him with your superior and subordinate relationship back then. Therefore, wouldn't it be better for me to deal with him once and for all while I'm still here? Everything you say makes sense. Now that everything in the Hunyuan Heaven sect has been settled, you don't have any trouble. In addition, you're already a Grand Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and it won't be difficult for you to go to the Jinwu religion to propose marriage. When do you plan to marry Lai Wuyang? Xing Hui felt a headache coming on when he heard this. He hurriedly stood up. I suddenly remembered that I still have important matters to deal with overseas. I have to rush overseas immediately. Senior Sister Nalan, I won't stay on Qinglan Peak any longer. I'll take my leave now. Chapter 271. Xing Hui left the Hunyuan Heaven sect as fast as he could, and he didn't even bother to inform the Life Alliance's capable people. Fortunately, the Chaos Temple was still around, so the two sides didn't lose contact. Because he didn't travel at full speed, it was already 6 days later when Xing Hui returned to Moon Lake Island, where the Life Alliance's headquarters was located. With Xing Hui's arrival, the Life Alliance's elders immediately rushed out to welcome him. They had already learned through various channels that Xing Hui had become the supreme elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and that Moon Lake Island was located in the sea region closest to the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Now that the Hunyuan Heaven sect had accepted them, the threat that Moon Lake Island faced from the 10 great sects could be said to have been reduced by half. After sending away the Life Alliance's elders, Xing Hui breathed a sigh of relief. Many trivial matters have finally been resolved, and the various troubles I face have also been eliminated one by one. Next, I can finally cultivate in peace for a period of time. Xing Hui muttered to himself. A moment later, he seemed to have thought of something. Without further delay, he flew straight to the sea region less than 8,000 kilometers away from Moon Lake Island. When he arrived at the sea region, Xing Hui directly activated the Xuanwu mark in his hand. Not long after, the sea region below rolled over and over, accompanied by circles of small tsunami-like waves spreading in all directions. The huge Xuanwu Saint Beast, how you emerged from the sea. Did you call me for something? Recently, I need to make a deal with an important person on Heaven Wasteland, so I specially came here to ask if you need any materials to purchase. Xing Hui said. He still had to rely on the Class 9 Saint Beast to guard the Life Alliance's headquarters for him, and at the same time withstand the pressure from the Create Evolve Mysterious sect in the future. Naturally, he had to build a good relationship with the Class 9 Saint Beast Xuanwu. Making a deal with a big shot from Heaven Wasteland. How you pondered for a while in an extremely human-like manner, then said, I do have what I need. If we Xuanwu people want to evolve, the best way is to absorb pre-world pure water, pre-world holy water, and even pre-world divine water. But you have taken away all the treasures in my cave, and I don't have enough treasures to trade with you in a short period of time. Innate primordial water, innate holy water, and innate divine water were all top-notch water-attributed treasures. Even the innate primordial water, which had the lowest value, was more valuable than the Great Sun Essence and Great Sun Crystal among the 5 elemental treasures. The price of a portion of innate primordial water was probably no less than a level 9 divine weapon. Innate primordial water, Xinghui frowned. This kind of thing was not easy to buy. It's not that there aren't any. However, it was not worth it. The price-performance ratio was too low. However, considering the fact that the Life Moon Alliance wanted to continue developing overseas, they would definitely violate the Creation Mystical Sect's plan of operating overseas. Perhaps one day, they would be targeted by the Creation Mystical Sect. Then, they would disregard the rules and the sovereignty of the sea and cross over to kill them. If it was 1 or 2 prominent divine stage experts, Xinghui would be able to barely resist them. However, if it was a saint who stood at the pinnacle of the eastern wilderness, unless Xinghui made another breakthrough and cultivated a divine-grade battle body, he would not be able to fight against them. At this time, the level 9 Xuanwu Haoyu's existence would be of utmost importance. Okay, I will buy a portion of innate primordial water for you. However, even if you buy it in the infinite wasteland, it will be worth at least 10 Taoist rhymes. If you are unable to pay me back, I will need you to help me kill 10 prominent divine stage experts or a saint. I can promise you that, but the human enemies I kill for you must enter the sea. If they leave the sea, don't blame me for being useless. Haoyu said. Of course, wait for my news. Xinghui said, and turned to leave. When the level 9 Saint Beast Xuanwu arrived on the continent, it was not that it did not have any battle prowess, but its battle prowess would decrease. Of course, the most important thing was that it was invincible in the sea. Once it went inland, there was a possibility that it would be besieged and killed by human experts. After all, a fully grown sacred beast was too tempting for human cultivators. If it really dared to set foot on the coast, even the Limitless Sword Sect and Creation Mysterious Sect would temporarily put aside their grudges and do their best to divide up this sacred beast that was full of treasures. This was also the reason why the level 9 Saint Beast Xuanwu would not easily step onto the continent. Xinghui arrived at the Life League and carefully comprehended the cultivation method of the 5th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Although the cultivation method of the 5th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique was not a true inheritance, his comprehension was excellent. In addition, he had seen the true body of the divine beast Golden Crow in the sky. With the help of the various mysteries of the divine beast Golden Crow technique and the cultivation method of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique in front of him, he had already comprehended the cultivation method of the 5th level of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Moreover, he believed that with the cultivation method of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique that he comprehended, his cultivation efficiency would not be much slower than the true disciples of the Jinwu religion. Primal Chaos Level 28. Putting aside the Great Sun Golden Crow technique that he was comprehending, Xinghui glanced at the information interface of the Chaos Shrine. Without much hesitation, he added a new chaotic level to the Incarnation Technique. Level 3 Incarnation Technique. Xinghui carefully comprehended the Incarnation Technique. The effect of the Incarnation Technique was similar to what he had guessed. In the case of an ordinary incarnation, he would be in a weakened state for 10 days, and it would take a month to fully recover his essence, chi, and spirit. Of course, this was only an approximate value. There might be differences, but the difference was only 1 or 2 days, so there was no need to include it in the calculation. I have to make a trip to the Milky Way Chamber of Commerce to replenish the necessary supplies. Xinghui muttered and immediately contacted the president of the Martial Desolate City branch of the Milky Way Chamber of Commerce, Gong Xing. Not long after, Gongxing handed over a spiritual imprint to Tsinghui. This spiritual imprint was a special location imprint in the martial desolate city branch of the Milky Way Chamber of Commerce. With the use of the incarnation technique, the feeling of the barrier between space and time suddenly emerged. Under the power of the incarnation technique, his thoughts seemed to have passed through a world of light and appeared in the martial desolate city branch of the Milky Way Chamber of Commerce. Greetings, Lord. Senior Dongyang, I have been waiting for you here for many years. In the hall, a young man in the spirit refining realm and Gongxing were waiting. The young man was naturally the cultivator who provided the spiritual imprint for Tsinghui. With Tsinghui's arrival, Gongxing waved his hand and let him leave. Then he directly said, Senior Dongyang, I wonder if my luck is not bad. My disciple contributed a part of the Tao carrying item for me. In addition, I also need some materials for cultivation, so I came to the Milky Way Chamber of Commerce again. Of course, if your Chamber of Commerce has any good deals, I can make a trip for you in 2 or 3 months. Tsinghui said with a smile. Senior Dongyang, it seems that you have accepted a good disciple. As for good deals, our Milky Way Chamber of Commerce does have one. In 3 months, a batch of goods will be sent to the Yehua continent. This continent is not far from our Tianhuang continent, about 24 million kilometers away. It has 9 Tao runes. Senior, what do you think? Okay, give it to me. In 3 months, I will contact you and ask you to provide the spiritual imprint of the person who received it. Jingsu answered. However, considering that it was only 9 Taos of ways, he still added, in the future, try your best to find locations that are further away. 9 Taos of ways. It sure is rare for me to make a trip here. Yes. Senior Dongyang, don't worry, I will pay attention. I will go to the headquarters and ask them to prepare. The goods will be sent in 3 days. No hurry, I also need to buy something. I wonder if your Milky Way Chamber of Commerce sells primordial spirit qi? Primordial spirit qi? Gongxing's face showed a trace of difficulty. Senior Dongyang should know that primordial spirit qi is a treasure that can repair spiritual energy. It is a best-selling treasure. Apart from the ancient caves, only the Chaos Treasure Pavilion produces it. If you really want to buy it, it is usually expensive. How much is the price? Gongxing hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, with my authority, I can buy it for you at the price of 19 Tao runes. 19 Tao runes. This price was much higher than the 15 Tao runes Tsinghui had in mind. If he wanted to buy 5 strands of primordial spirit qi, it would be equivalent to spending 20 Tao runes for nothing. It would be equivalent to the Tao runes of the Void Origin Peak Master being wasted. Senior, do you need it? If you do, you have to be quick. Otherwise, I'm afraid. Give me 3 strands. 3 strands. Gongxing's face was bitter, but he could only say, Senior, I am confident that I can buy 1 strand, but 2 strands are too much. As for 3 strands, I can only say that I will do my best. Then let's do our best. Tsinghui did not expect primordial spirit qi to be so popular. Unless he was willing to raise the price, it would not be easy to buy enough primordial spirit qi. Also, I need a portion of Khanate primordial water. Khanate primordial water is easy. If you want to buy it, 8 Tao runes is enough. Tsinghui nodded. Go report it as soon as possible, and see how much primordial spirit qi I can buy. Yes. Wait a moment. Tsinghui suddenly remembered the deal he made with Yu Yan, and said, prepare another corpse of the 4 bright bird for me. No. 2. Tsinghui estimated that Yu Yan should have more than 30 strands of Tao runes on her body. To be safe, he planned to buy 2 of the 4 bright birds' corpses. Anyway, if he did not need them, he could just find an opportunity to sell them. A saint-level 4 bright birds' corpse was not difficult to find a buyer. At most, the amount of Tao runes he could get would not be as high as Yu Yan's. Yes. Do you have any other orders? That's all for now. In addition, there are some resources that my disciple asked me to buy. Some small items, such as 5th, 6th, and 7th level divine weapons, armors, and flying swords. I plan to buy these small items with a total of 10 Taoist rhymes. As for how to distribute them, You can decide. Yes, I will go and prepare it. Xinghui nodded. After Gongxing left, he turned his attention to Tianxiong. According to Gongxing, if he wanted to buy the primordial spirit qi at a discounted price, it would not be easy. Therefore, he might as well go to Tianxiong and try. Anyway, Tianxiong Master already knew about his chaotic level. If Tianxiong Master wanted to do something to him, he would have done it long ago. He did not have to worry too much about going to Tianxiong Master in the form of a clone. Chapter 272. Xiao. Xinghui's figure appeared in the Sky Dome realm. After pondering for a while, Xinghui did not go directly to the Sky Dome realm. Instead, he went directly to the book creation hall of Zhongjin Venerable. The person in charge of the book creation hall was still the little girl Yuling. Seeing Xinghui's arrival, she asked for instructions from Zhongjin Venerable and brought Xinghui to Zhongjin Venerable's study room. Is there anything? If there is a problem with your cultivation, I can't help you. You should look for Zhuzhao Venerable. Zhongjin Venerable saw Xinghui and asked. Yuling was envious of Zhongjin Venerable's proactive tone. Even though she had been serving Zhongjin Venerable all these years, she had never received such treatment as a direct disciple. It's not related to cultivation. I just want to know if I can buy primordial spirit qi from the Sky Dome realm. Primordial spirit qi. The Venerable Master Zhongzhen glanced at Qing Su and frowned. You're currently at a crucial moment in your cultivation. Tempering yourself is already quite effective in tempering the mind. So isn't it a little too much of a waste if you use the qi of your soul? Time does not wait for me. I hope Zhongzhen Venerable can fulfill my wish. Seeing how determined Qing Su was, Zhongzhen the Venerable Master could not help but sigh. You've gone from the spirit refining realm to the Qingming realm in just a few years. Your cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds. If you progress too quickly, it won't be of any benefit to your future cultivation. However, since you've forced yourself to ask, then I'll tell you. The Yuan Shin Qi in Sky Dome is not limitless. Priority is given to the core members first, then to the Refining God Pavilion, then to the council members, then to the high-ranking members, official members and outer members. As for the price, it varies as well. For example, even if an outer member has the right to purchase it, you'll need 21 or 22 daos. Then, is there any primordial spirit qi for sale in the Sky Dome realm? If a high-level member wants to buy it, how much is it? High-level member. Songjin the Exalted was slightly startled. Then, he seemed to check the information with his authority. After a while, he suddenly realized. Song Qiong actually promoted your authority to a high-level member? That's rare. If it's a high-ranking member, let me see. 18 Taoist rhymes is enough. However, he's only allowed to buy one strand. If he wants to buy a second strand, he'll have to pay 20 Taoist rhymes. So on and so forth. Every additional strand of primordial spirit aura will cost 2 more Taoist rhymes. Currently, we have 20 strands of primordial spirit aura in the Vault of Heaven. If you want to replenish it, you'll have to wait until the annual Chaos Treasure Pavilion opens in 8 months. The first wave is 18 Taoist rhymes. The second wave is 20 Taoist rhymes. Xinghui calculated for a while and had a plan in his mind. Thank you for your explanation, Master Zhongzhen. I will go to the exclusive mountain to buy it now. Wait a minute, Zhongzhen said. If you really need it, I'll use my identity to get 3 for you. I can buy the first 3 for 15 Dao ripples. 15 Dao runes. It was a huge discount. Upon hearing this, Xinghui did not refuse. He just bowed respectfully. Thank you for your kindness, Master Zhongzhen. Sigh. Have you gone to see Master Zhuzhao recently? I saw him not long ago. Song Qiong was also there at that time, and he promoted my authority to a high-level member. Upon hearing this, Song Zhen the Exalted looked a little more spirited. In that case, you should visit Master Zhuzhao more often. Go now. Now. Of course. It's best to visit Master Zhuzhao every month. Master Zhuzhao is the strongest person in our Vault of Heaven, and he has awakened the Torch Dragon bloodline. It's not wrong to have a good relationship with him. This, okay. Upon seeing Song Jin the exalted look, Sing Hui could only agree. Go go. Yes. Ching Su answered and left the venerable master Song Jun's scripture hall. However, even after leaving the scripture creation hall, he still felt that he was being watched by someone else. It did not go away for a long time. Obviously, Zhongjin Shangren was not at ease and had been staring at him. It seemed that he would only stop after he went to visit the Firmament Master and Zhu Zhao Master. Helpless, Sing Hui could only contact Master Zhu Zhao. After waiting for a while, the surrounding environment suddenly changed, and the feeling of being watched by others quickly dissipated. Pak Hui, is there anything you don't understand about your cultivation? Master Zhu Zhao asked. Song Qiong was still beside him. The two of them were playing chess on a huge chessboard, as if they had been playing since ancient times. Sing Hui could not say that he was forced to meet Master Zhu Zhao, could he? After pondering for a while, he immediately thought of some strange things about himself. Now that Master Zhu Zhao was still there, he simply asked, Master, when I was comprehending the Torch Dragon bloodline and the sword essence on the light condensing sword, I seemed to have a little understanding. Not only did my sword essence reach the small success realm, but I also faintly cultivated a special secret method. However, this secret method seems to have nothing to do with the Torch Dragon bloodline. I don't know if it's good or bad. Today, I came here to ask Master Zhu Zhao to give me some advice. Oh, sword essence? Release your sword essence, and let me feel it. Master Zhu Zhao said calmly. Yes, Master. Ching Su did not say anything about the abbot being careful. The sword intent he had comprehended through the special effect of his level 5 comprehension was like a firefly compared to the moon in the abyssal mental world of the Reverend Zhu Zhao. They could not be compared at all. Even the secret technique of the sword intent could not make up for the huge difference between them. As Sing Hui released his sword essence, a spiritual impact that was mixed with a mysterious and obscure aura suddenly blasted Master Zhu Zhao's mind. After a while, Master Zhu Zhao closed his eyes as if he was carefully feeling something. Ching Su stood to one side as well. He waited quietly without saying anything. The atmosphere in the hall was silent. On the other hand, Master Firmament could not help but feel surprised when he saw that Master Zhu Zhao actually used his heart to comprehend the sword essence that Sing Hui had created. It should be noted that with Master Zhu Zhao's cultivation and understanding of the Torch Dragon bloodline, he could almost see through any magical power changes related to the Torch Dragon bloodline at a glance. Even Ancestor Pasua, a powerful figure who had cultivated a magical power, was no exception. Master Zhu Zhao actually carefully comprehended the sword essence that Sing Hui had comprehended by himself, which was simply incredible to him. This sword essence. After a while, Master Zhu Zhao opened his eyes, which were full of surprise. What a magical sword essence. Master Firmament heard Master Zhu Zhao's comment, and could not help but look at Sing Hui. After glancing at him, he turned to Master Zhu Zhao. Magical? He's just a junior in the green netherworld realm. But the sword essence secret technique that he comprehended is magical? It's really magical. At first glance, his sword essence secret technique seems rather crude, but the direction of its evolution is extremely magical. It's even more magical than the path that I took in the past. Back then, I took the path of using the Torch Dragon bloodline and the Great Sun True God's power to control light, to deprive others of their perception of the outside world. However, his sword essence seems to have gone beyond the scope of depriving others of their perception with the power of light. Instead, it's more like freezing people's thoughts. Master Zhu Zhao said and nodded vigorously. That's right. It's freezing people's thoughts. His sword essence secret technique has the effect of freezing people's thoughts. It's actually. Master Firmament's eyes widened slightly. With his experience, he naturally understood what kind of power this secret technique would have if it was real. Freezing people's thoughts, even if it was only for a moment, could easily determine the outcome of a life and death battle for those peak experts. This sword essence. No wonder Venerable Zhu Zhao used the word mystical to describe it. Pak Hui, How did you comprehend this sword essence? Even the real divine beast, the torch dragon, doesn't have the ability to freeze people's thoughts. Xing Hui had been working hard in the direction of freezing time back then. From what he knew about the history of the torch dragon, apart from being the great sun true god, the divine beast was also the guardian of the space-time order and controlled the space-time energy. However, this understanding was based on the description of the torch dragon in Earth's mythology. He could not explain this to Master Zhu Zhao at all. In the end, he could only say, when I increased my comprehension to stage 5, there was a change in my inspiration. Countless sparks of inspiration appeared all of a sudden. Moreover, Master Zhu Zhao's sword essence of the light condensation sword is unusual. I don't know why I condensed this magical sword essence. When Master Firmament heard this, he immediately clapped his hands and laughed. He actually comprehended the sword intent of the light condensation sword that you left behind, Zhu Zhao. Moreover, compared to the sword intent of the light condensation sword that you left behind, it's even better. He's really talented. Master Zhu Zhao looked at Xing Hui with a hint of struggle in his heart. Xing Hui's talent had indeed moved his heart. However, when he thought about the thoughts of Master Zhongzhen, and the fact that he had clearly stated that he would never accept Xing Hui as his disciple, even if he was faintly moved, he could not do such a thing that would go back on his words. In the end, he could only say, Xing Hui, you obviously have your own unique understanding of the torch dragon bloodline. In terms of sword essence, I can't give you much help. As he spoke, he directly clenched his hand. Immediately, a stream of light broke through the air from the direction of the God Refinement Pavilion and landed in Master Zhu Zhao's hand. Seeing the stream of light in Master Zhu Zhao's hand, Xing Hui's eyes narrowed slightly. Light condensation sword? Yes, it's the light condensation sword. Master Zhu Zhao wiped his hand on the sword. With a flash of light, a layer of seal had been added to the powerful sword essence in the light condensation sword. Only 10% or 20% of it escaped. This light condensation sword records all my understanding of the other path of the torch dragon bloodline. I've added seals to all the sword essences, so they won't cause you any harm. You can carefully comprehend the changes in them. I hope that one day, you can walk out a path that completely belongs to you, and even set foot on the peak. Xing Hui looked at the light condensation sword. This divine weapon was no longer as simple as a divine weapon. It represented the inheritance of Master Zhu Zhao, who stood at the peak of the world. Its value could not be measured by money. With this sword, although he and Master Zhu Zhao were not master and disciple, they were already master and disciple in reality. With caution, Qing Su went up and bowed towards the exalted Zhu Zhao slowly. Thank you, exalted one. I won't let you down. I'll open up a new path in this thorny area. Chapter 273. This sword was made by the Divine Blessing Technique, when I reached the Gold Core Realm, at the 4th level of the Saint Realm. It has a special meaning to me. It has been covered in dust in the Refining God Pavilion for a long time. Today it finally welcomes its true owner. As Master Zhu Zhao spoke, he wiped the sword with his hand. Suddenly, the golden color on the light condensation sword fell off, revealing the frost-like sword body. Soon the sword body was completely revealed. The cold light dissipated. The sword body looked invisible, as if it did not exist. However, a biting cold aura rose from the sword. Even though Xing Hui only sensed it slightly, he could feel the suffocating and terrifying sharpness in the sword. This sword. Looking at the sword, Xing Hui could not help but think of one of the 10 divine swords of ancient Wuxia. Shadow-bearing. Shadow-bearing. The name of the sword was light condensation. Its name came from the fact that it had the ability to absorb light. Even though the sword was held in a person's hand, due to its unique setting and its ability to absorb light, outsiders would not be able to see where the sword was. The light condensation sword. Looking at the shadow-bearing sword slowly being pulled out from Master Zhu Zhao's hand, Master Tsang Qiong could not help but look nostalgic. He seemed to be recalling the time when he and his brothers had just founded Songqiong. This magic weapon, I'm afraid it's of an extraordinary level. The light condensation sword has reached the 12th level and can be called a top divine weapon. If it's a 13th level supreme treasure, it belongs to the category of divine weapons. Master Zhu Zhao looked at the light condensation sword in his hand with a trace of nostalgia in his eyes. This sword is still filled with the sword essence I left behind. When you can completely understand the sword essence in it, you will naturally be able to master this divine sword and show its sharpness again. I hope you won't bring shame to this divine sword when the time comes. Senior, don't worry. One day, I will let this divine sword's fame spread across Tianhuang region. Master Zhu Zhao nodded. When the time comes, I will ask someone to give this sword to you. This divine sword, remnant sword, has been begging you for more than 10 years. I didn't expect that in the end, it would be taken advantage of by this boy, Master Songqiong said with a smile. Remnant sword. His direction is not suitable for this light condensation sword. Master Zhu Zhao said. That's true. Those few most outstanding disciples of yours. Just as Venerable Master Tsongzhen was about to say something, he seemed to have received another message. He said doubtfully, what the hell is Tsongzhen doing? He actually wants 3 strands of qi of primordial spirit. Although the effects of the primordial spirit qi were not bad, for a cultivator of his level, it was not very useful. At most, it had a good recovery effect when the soul was injured. He had not been injured recently, right? Why don't you leave the primordial spirit qi here and give it to the juniors who need it more? When Xinghui heard this, he quickly added, Venerable Master, this is the 3 strands of qi of essence that I need. I borrowed from Venerable Master Tsongzhen to buy these 3 strands of qi of essence to temper my spirit and prepare for charging into the prominent divine stage in the future. Hearing those words, the firmament master nodded his head and said, All right, I'll approve it then. I'll see when someone will head to that area and have them bring it over. Before Venerable Master Tsongzhen could finish his words, Xinghui had already hurriedly said, I can bring it over myself, and I have an avatar in Wasteland City in the Infinite Wasteland region. Venerable Master Tsongzhen was stunned, and then he frowned. You can bring it over yourself? You actually upgraded your personal space to the 5th stage? It's a waste for you to upgrade your personal space to the 5th stage. It's better for you to focus on upgrading one of your characteristics to the 10th stage and cause it to undergo a second mutation. Xinghui could not help but be at a loss for words. On the other hand, Master Zhu Zhao said, If it's the 5th stage, then so be it. Any ability of the Son of Chaos will have incredible mysteries when it reaches the 5th stage, and the personal space is no exception. Didn't you upgrade your personal space to the 10th stage because you're aiming for the legendary realm, where you can create a world with a thought? It's said that a 10th stage personal space can naturally allow you to step into that realm. I'm still thousands of miles away from that realm, and I don't even know if I have any hope of stepping into that realm in this lifetime. I upgraded my personal space to the 10th stage because I was ignorant and young. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely waste a second level of chaos on my personal space. Venerable Master Zhu Zhao heard this and smiled. I still believe that none of the many abilities of the Son of Chaos are of little value. At most, it's just that we haven't upgraded them high enough, or that we haven't reached the corresponding realm to be able to unleash their additional effects. I hope so. As Venerable Master Tsongzhen spoke, he turned to Xinghui. Even if you can send down an avatar now, it's probably the weakest one. It's really hard for you to come here. In that case, I'll send one of my disciples to Wasteland City. You can just wait there for a while. Thank you for your understanding, Venerable Master Tsongzhen. It's fine. Is there anything else? No, I won't disturb the 2 of you any longer. Pak Hui will take her leave. Xinghui cupped his hands together. Venerable Master Tsongzhen waved his hand. As the surrounding environment changed drastically, he landed on the public square outside the book creation hall. Xinghui didn't stay in the book creation hall for long. He immediately left the Sky Dome realm and returned to the resting place arranged by Gong Xing of the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce. Standing on the second floor, Xinghui looked down. In the entire martial desolate city, the cultivation level could be said to be extremely high. On the streets of the eastern wasteland, the divine Qi unity stage experts, who could be considered experts of a region, could be seen everywhere. Even in the Hunyuan heaven sect, there was no lack of prominent divine stage experts who could aspire for the position of supreme elder. Most importantly, the most important thing was that saint stage experts like Gong Xing were sitting in the main hall. Compared to prominent saint stage experts, first-layer true origin stage experts didn't have much of an increase in strength. However, because their true qi had condensed into true origin, their quantity had greatly increased. This allowed them to manifest their saint body for a long period of time. Even so, a saint stage expert could match up to 5 or 6 prominent saint stage experts. If a prominent saint stage expert wanted to surround and kill a saint stage expert, it would often take a dozen people to have any hope of success. If it was a one-on-one battle, a saint stage expert only needed to endure the duration of the prominent saint stage expert's saint body to easily defeat him. This was the biggest difference between the saint stage and the prominent saint stage. In order to fight against saint stage experts, prominent saint stage experts have thought of ways to create powerful one-hit kill secret arts and sword arts. For example, the Sword of the Glorious Sun that Sword Master by Hung taught me can be said to be a typical one-hit kill technique. This kind of ultimate move that consumes one's strength in an instant often has an extraordinary effect on saint stage experts. It allows some prominent saint stage experts to often be able to counterattack and defeat true origin stage experts in a one-on-one battle. Of course, saint stage cultivators aren't fools. In response to prominent saint stage experts' research on one-hit kill secret arts, they have also spent a great deal of effort on movement techniques in order to avoid the opponent's killing blow and secure victory. Therefore, at this stage, techniques have a crucial effect on a cultivator's battle strength. Xinghui muttered to himself. He couldn't help but have the thought of cultivating a movement technique. In terms of attack, the Sword of the Glorious Sun was enough. This sword art was created by Sword Master by Hung, and its power was directly linked to one's cultivation level. It was equivalent to using all one's strength and then detonating it through a special method. When Xinghui was at the Spirit and Qi Unity stage, he had once used the Sword of the Glorious Sun to unleash an attack that wasn't inferior to the eternal blazing Sunday. Such a sword art could be said to be one of the best in the entire Tianhuang region. Currently, he had only reached the small success stage of this sword art, and had yet to reach the great success stage. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Xiang Tianxing is the best short-distance teleportation technique. Not long ago, when I fought with Elder Qin Zhen, I suffered a great loss under Elder Qin Zhen's Xiang Tianxing secret technique. However, Elder Qin Zhen's Tianpeng sacred body is more or less related to the Kuanpeng bloodline. Although Xiang Tianxing can display astonishing power in his hands, it may not be the same in my hands. If I really need a secret technique, I have to work on the Golden Crow bloodline. Xinghui's Great Sun Golden Crow technique had a magical effect at every stage. At the 3rd stage, he could cultivate the Scarlet Crow spirit. At the 4th stage, he could form Golden Crow wings. And at the 5th stage, he could refine the eternal blazing Sunday. As for the 6th stage, it was naturally the magical transformation of the Golden Crow sacred body. However, different cultivation techniques contain different magical powers, which gave rise to different kinds of techniques. The Great Sun Golden Crow technique did not have any secret techniques that could increase one's speed, but that did not mean that other techniques did not. The Golden Crow bloodline is one of the most commonly used divine beast bloodlines in the world, and the cultivation techniques passed down are not as limited as the Torch Dragon bloodline. There are only a few types of cultivation techniques, but there are more than 10 types of cultivation techniques for the Golden Crow bloodline. I will choose one to comprehend. If I don't cultivate a cultivation technique and focus on a secret technique, it will certainly make up for this drawback. In this way, even if I encounter cultivators who are proficient in speed and want to use delaying techniques to avoid my saint technique, I will be able to advance and retreat freely. With this plan in mind, Xing Hui left his room and looked for Gong Xing again. Gong Xing was receiving an important guest, but when he heard Xing Hui's summons, he did not dare to not come. He quickly cupped his hands and greeted, "Elder Dongyang, do you have any instructions for me? I don't cultivate the Golden Crow bloodline, but I have heard that cultivators of the Golden Crow bloodline have mastered several teleportation techniques that are extremely fast. I wonder if the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce has a collection of similar techniques? Teleportation techniques of the Golden Crow bloodline." Gong Xing pondered for a moment, then quickly calculated something and said, "Elder, although the bloodline of the Golden Crow has a good movement technique, due to its limitations, it can't be compared to the movement technique of the Kunpeng bloodline. Therefore, although our Galaxy Chamber of Commerce has collected a lot of movement techniques related to the bloodline of the Golden Crow, their grades are not high. There are only two kinds of movement techniques that are useful to powerful people, and they are difficult to cultivate." Obviously, in his mind, Dong Yang was at least a powerful figure, and ordinary movement techniques were probably not of his interest. "Pick out the 10 movement techniques that you think are the best and show them to me." "Yes, I will prepare them." That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.